perks that reward your loyalty, and energy experts who know what's what. Carefree just feels good. Encore by Emcor, your carefree electricity and natural gas provider.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
Looking for auto parts without the dealership price tag? You'll save big here at Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlaw. From engines and alternators to doors and glass, we carry quality tested used parts at unbeatable prices. Why spend thousands when you can spend hundreds? Keep your car and your budget running strong with Ed's Auto Salvage. I'm Lisa, inviting you to stop in soon or visit us online. We offer province-wide shipping and daily delivery.
Touchdown! Hospital. Husqvarna has chainsaws for the homeowner, farmer, rancher, or professional available in battery or gas-powered models.
Like,
take care of leaves with the power of Husqvarna blowers.
Second of the game is the equalizer.
We're more than repairs. We're more than mowers. The Lawnmower Hospital.
When it comes to choosing a hair clinic, the
When your personal goal is to help other people achieve theirs, you must deeply understand the latest treatments.
Want to feel confident and comfortable? The difference is in the doctor.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott at drvanceelliott.com.
Want some good news? St. Albert Dodge is holding the biggest sale of the year on their in-stock Ram 1500 Sports. Every single one on the lot is discounted by a whopping $14,000. Yeah, 14 grand. And St. Albert Dodge has the best selection in Alberta. Over 90 Ram 1500 Sports to choose from with great packages, including the Night Edition and GT models, all $14,000 off the ticket price. Get down. St. Albert Dodge.
The sixth.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Now McDavid to Nugent Hopkins. Back to Bouchard. McDavid cuts in front. Dishes. What kind of score? This game is tied. Leon Draisaitl. Second of the game is the equalizer.
On Sports 1440.
30 goal. Indians looking, throwing, touchdown. Zach Ertz.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Deep right center field. It is gone.
What a magnificent Monday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. As always, happy to have you along for the ride as it is another game day in the World Series. Game 3 tonight. The Jays in LA tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And it'll be Mad Max Scherzer on the mound tonight against Glasnow. I'm little surprised that Scherzer over Bieber, but hey, obviously that's what they're going to do. And then we'll have Bieber go tomorrow. And you look at the Jays, Bo Bichette is back in. It's like he will be playing second base again, just like he did in game 1. So we'll go over the lineup and much more a little bit later on. The Gregor Show is always brought to you by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in PlayAlberta.ca. And you can get into the World Series. Of course, they got new odds, boosts, and more for the game tonight. So check it out at PlayAlberta.ca. We got a loaded show for you. Kevin Woodley is going to join us talking goaltending coming up in the first hour. We are, of course, going to talk some Jays and Dodgers. Andy Petrillo is going to join us today and in the 4 o'clock hour, talking about her book and amongst other things, Amazon and CBC and anything else. Bill Armstrong, the general manager of the hottest team in the Western Conference, the Utah Mammoth, who are in town tomorrow night to take on the Edmonton Oilers. This is not the Coyotes we were used to. The Mammoth are rolling right now. Winners of 7 in a row. And, man, their top 6 is firing on all cylinders. But you just look at Utah, and 8-2, they've outscored teams 37-24. They've won 7 games in a row. They've got Nick Schmaltz, who is tied for the league in points with 16 points, but that's just one guy. You go up and down their lineup, and right now it's looking really good. Because you got Clayton Keller. He's got 12 points in 10 games. Logan Cooley, 7 goals, 11 points in 10 games. Dylan Gunther, former Edmonton Oil King, 5 goals, 11 points. So there's 4 guys with 11. Then you throw in J.J. Peterka, who they acquired from Buffalo in the offseason. He's got 9 points in 10 games. And rounding out their top 6, Barrett Hayton, the one guy who has yet to really get going offensively. But, man, they got 5 guys rolling. Throw in Sergachev on the back end, who's got 5 power play points. They look dangerous. The Oilers are going to have to be prepared. Now, Utah still is giving up a lot of chances. Vejmelka's got a .905 save percentage. Skinner's got a .903. So I don't think the goalie matchup is that. The only difference is Utah gives up more shots, right? Which can help your that's why, I still debate. I would argue I prefer goals against average over save percentage. Right? To me, that's what matters more. Right? How many goals are you allowing? You might face a lot of shots. Are they quality shots or are they just shots? So you look at Vejmelka has started 7 games and he has faced 179 shots and he's allowed 17 goals. Stuart Skinner's allowed 14, but in his 6 starts, he's faced 144. Skinner has a 2.31 goals against average, .903 save percentage. Vejmelka has a .905 save percentage, but a 2.43 goals against average. So it's pretty even. Vejmelka's slightly higher if you're looking at goals saved above expected, but Stuart Skinner, I know there's lots of consternation about the Oilers goaltending. It's not Skinner. Skinner's numbers are fine. He's 9th amongst there's 32 guys, I'll say 32 starters who have started at least 5 games or more. 32 of them. Skinner's got the 9th best goals against average at 2.31. His save percentage is 16th. His goals saved above expected is 16th. He's been okay, right? He's not spectacular, but you don't think he's spectacular, so why would you expect him to be spectacular? That's what I don't get. I think he's been fine. The gap really is between him and Pickard. Pickard started 4 games. Skinner started 6. Picker's got an .846 save percentage and a 3.5 goals against average, and he's got a -3 goals saved above expected. So I think over the next 10 games where the Oilers, they played 7 of their first 10 on the road, they play 5 of their next 10 on the road, 5 at home. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Skinner start 7 of the next 10 games for the Edmonton Oilers. And as of course, they've got Utah and the Rangers and Chicago at home this week. Then they're in St. Louis and Dallas next Monday, Tuesday. Then they have 3-day break. They come home and they play Colorado on the Saturday the 8th, and then Columbus Monday the 10th. And then they head out on the road. They'll have 3 more games on that road trip: Philly, Columbus, and Carolina. So you look, obviously Pickard's going to play twice because they have back-to-back games against St. Louis, Dallas, Philly, and Columbus. And then he'll probably mix in 1 other game. Just a matter of which one you're going to mix them in. So that's kind of how I see their next 10-game stretch going for the Edmonton Oilers. And then after that stretch, if you look at it, then they'll have 5-5 again on the road. They do have a fairly heavy road schedule to start the season. They got another road trip out east in December, a 7-gamer in November, a 5-gamer in December. But then that's pretty much it. You get into January and they've got like a 1-game trip, 2-game trip, 1-game trip. Then they got 8 games at home. They do have, coming out of the Olympic break, they'll have a 3-game road trip, and then they do have a 4-gamer in March. But all their long ones, definitely to the Eastern Conference, are done actually in December. First time in franchise history that the Oilers will have played all their Eastern time zone games by December. It's a little bit odd, but that's where it is. Coming up on the show, also, we mentioned Kevin Woodley. We'll be talking goaltending. Tyson Shuskowicz will talk World Series Game 3. Oh, buddy, pivotal Game 3. Jays last series, they were down. They needed a win. They got the win. Now it's 1-1. Yamamoto, what a performance on Saturday for the Dodgers. Like, this guy's, he's unreal right now. You just got to tip your hat. Like, Gosman, I thought, pitched really well. He at one point, he retired 17 consecutive batters. Like, it was a pitcher's duel. And Yamamoto, complete game again, back-to-back. That just doesn't happen in the history of baseball, never mind in 2025, where lots of guys rarely last 7 innings. So it's impressive. You got to tip your hat to him. And, the Jays, I'm sure if they have any regret, it was that first inning when you had Springer on third, Lucas was on first, no outs in the bottom of the first inning. And you had a chance to get to Yamamoto right there. But unfortunately for them, they got bases loaded because of a walk, but did not get anybody in. And that was their best chance to do some damage in that game. And now we'll see how they go. Should be fun. Obviously, it's in LA. The Jays, last time they went in Seattle, they had 2 big wins, and they need at least one to guarantee them coming home. If they could somehow find a way to win 2 out of 3 in LA, that would be massive. So we'll see, but at least win one. And then you come home to what will be a massive, rabid crowd on Friday night in Toronto. And then the World Series potentially could be decided as early as Wednesday if somebody sweeps these next 3. I'd be surprised if that happened either way, but you never know. And then Friday and Saturday. So the latest baseball will play is November 1st. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can text us in our inbox. The Oilers, not a great weekend when you consider they only got 1 out of 4 points. The Seattle game, I didn't think was great offensively. They didn't give up a ton in that game, but when they did, they gave up a lot of odd man rush chances. They had their puck management again was an issue. Kind of continued to be an issue. They didn't generate a ton of chances. 5-on-5. Last night in Vancouver, similar. Without Quinn Hughes, I don't think they got as much pressure as they'd have liked on Vancouver's defense. Now, I give them credit. They came back. They were down 3-1. Probably could be down 3-0. I get when you watch the replay that was offside. Here's my view, and I've said this many times. I would look at instant review this way. You can only watch it in real time, and if after 2 watches you can't determine what it is, it's not offside. Because at that point, it's so minimal that it's irrelevant. Because think about, you could probably call offside on every snap, or 50% of them, just based on, look, he's a little bit over. Just like because when you go into super slow motion and go frame by frame, yeah, but the human brain and the human eye doesn't work frame by frame. Yet we review it frame by frame. That's the part I don't like. That's not how the game is played. You don't review it that way. So if you want to have reviews on offside, they should only be in real time, and you should get it 2 views over. If it's not obvious, it's done. Because the only reason was we don't want Matt Duchene being 2 feet offside. Okay, sure. You can do that, right? That's what you want. But nothing else. Nothing else. We don't need this, your 5-minute review, and is it skate over? Oh, it's close. Like, give me a break. I don't think that was the heart of the rule. The heart of the rule was get rid of obvious missed ones. Like and they overreacted. The Duchene one was so blatant. They just missed it. Whatever. Happened like 1 time in how many games? Usually the linesmen are more on the ball to that. But I don't know where you come out, Cons, but I'm not a fan of offside reviews. You watch it in real time and move on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I've long said that I think that if you want to make it just a little bit more simplistic, like you said, you get the full speed. If you can't determine that from the angle on the ice, then that's it. You move on. I'm sure, though, that just opens up the can of worms, right? Like, well, you look at it, he was offside. But
no, it doesn't. You watch it in real time. You either see it or you don't.
But
it's that simple. There's no can of worms.
It's going to pop up online that, okay, when I slow it down, I can clearly see it's offside. The ref doesn't see it at full speed, but it was offside. Now you're counting it. So I mean, like, I feel just like once they did it this way, it's tough to go back because people are always going to say, well, you got the call wrong. The call was off. He was offside and the league got it wrong. So I just don't know if they can do that. I agree with you. I'm on board for it, but I just don't know if the league will do it.
Yeah, well, it'd be smart. I don't think you
Yeah.
the game's not played in super slow motion. The human eye cannot see in super slow motion. You can't. So why are we expecting a linesman to call something that they physically are unable to see? They can't see it frame by frame. Plus, how many offsides are offside that are whistled down as offside but aren't offside? You don't get to restart the play, right? We live with that. That's what I find funny. We live with taking away goal scoring chances, but then we only want to take away goals. They never put them on. It was one of the worst rules they've ever put in place. And at some point you should be, rather than double down on it, I think they should just look and say this would be better. But that's just my thoughts on that. So we'll see. 833-401-1440. Otherwise, in the National Football League, interesting slate of games. There was definitely a few blowouts that some that we thought were expecting. Some bad news for the Giants. Scadaboo is out long term for them. Not a great injury, but kudos to the. It's not many guys that the Philly fans will cheer that's not on their team, but I will give them credit that they were respectful in that game for sure. Miami spanking Atlanta on the road. I think a little bit of a surprise. The Jets get their first win of the season. Not sure it matters. What about Houston? I think that's a little bit of a surprise. New England just continues to roll. Tampa Bay, no surprise. They spank New Orleans. Denver all over Dallas in that one. The Colts continue to roll, as did Green Bay goes into Pittsburgh and wins. So, Cons, any games stand out to you, good or bad?
Well, yeah. I mean, you want to give some credit to a team, the New York Jets, with Nick Mangold, one of their Ring of Honor players, passing away. We just found out before the game. I thought that was kind of one of those goosebumps moments. Someone's watching to score 23 points on the road in Cincinnati, and he grew up 45 minutes from the stadium. He played at Ohio State. I thought that was an interesting one for sure. Other than that, though, I think you do have to give the Miami Dolphins a lot of credit going into Atlanta. But I think we just saw who are the top dogs in the NFL just a little bit more. The Denver Broncos, that mile-high advantage is massive. They're 4-0 at home. That was big. And then the Colts doing exactly what we thought they would do with the Tennessee Titans, 38 points. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, he's got to be in the MVP conversation. Another 3-touchdown game. What he's been doing has been fantastic. And I thought good on the Green Bay Packers because they started off a little bit slow, but their defense got things going towards the end. They scored 28 points in the second half, and big win for them because, as we've talked about, that division is tough. They got a little bit of a help with the Chicago Bears losing to the Ravens, which caught me off guard. But yeah, it was a good little Sunday of football. A lot of beatdowns, though.
Sean McDermott just announcing that Ed Oliver has a torn bicep. He is out indefinitely, so that's a pretty big blow for the Buffalo Bills. Not great for them. We'll take a quick break. Coming up, Kevin Woodley is going to join us, and more. It is the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Get ready, Edmonton. Glow Christmas Festival returns to light up the Edmonton Expo Center from December 4th to 31st with dazzling activities for the entire family. Wander the glowing trails, meet Santa in his sleigh, and shop from over 30 local artisans and vendors with handcrafted gifts and holiday treasures, perfect for everyone on your list. Get your tickets and learn more about what's on this season by visiting the calendar of events at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
You got it. Go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk, family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Your all-access pass to the world of sports is Edmonton's only sports radio station.
From pre- and post-game hockey shows to in-depth analysis from your favorite commentators, the action never stops on Sports 1440.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and if you're serious about selling your used RV, then I'm serious about getting you the money you want. You're not the only one who wants to spend the winter in selling mode rather than storage mode, and we're happy to help.
People come to No Bull RV 12 months of the year, right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. A used RV is one of a kind, which means when the one you're looking for comes along, customers quickly pounce on it. So if you've outgrown your RV or you're looking to upsize, downsize, or just turn it into cash, come see us at No Bull RV.
You have to be serious about selling, though, right, Rick?
Better believe it, Bob. This is for people who truly want their RV gone. If we're going to store your RV for free all winter, it has to be priced to sell. And that's why customers come to No Bull 12 months of the year. Because you never know when the perfect used RV is going to arrive. And if it's here, it won't last long.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.220 rolling through Monday afternoon. Big Monday, another great week for sports. Of course, got Oilers Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at home. Got Jays World Series Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday guaranteed, and then probably, I would think, a game 6 on Friday. I don't know if anybody's going to sweep the next 3. It'd be great. I'm sure Jays fans like, let's take it. But I don't know. Something about, I'd be surprised if, I guess if it was the Dodgers, that means they'd win 4 in a row. I'd be a little surprised by that. So should be good. Max Scherzer starting on the mound tonight for Toronto, going up against young Glasnow, big Tyler Glasnow, 6'8". He is huge, thick flow. Too going on the mound for the LA Dodgers, and he's a big dude, man, big dude. But he can get hit on. So we'll see if the Jays can get some runs tonight. First pitch 6:08. You can listen to it right here on Sports 1440. We love it. Now let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And McDonald's Canada is celebrating the return of hockey with Fan Day deals every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. You get a Big Mac, McChicken, filet of fish fan deal for only $4.49. every one of those days, just only through the McDonald's app. So get the app, $4.49 only at McDonald's. Is Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. Joins us. Woodley, how you doing, my man?
I am good. I'm in Seattle, so you've got me in the car right now. So hopefully the reception holds up down here. Although this is where I'm at Climate Pledge, so they've got a great facility and good Wi-Fi.
You got a bunch of waves flowing right through. You don't even know it. So yeah, you'll be just fine. We're gonna get into some goalies. The Oilers got they got a slate of goalies this week that could be pretty tough. But give me your thoughts, because I had a lot of people questioning already. The Oilers, like Stuart Skinner's season has been, I was looking at it online. He's 9th in goals against average amongst starters, guys who have played at least 5 games in the NHL. He's 16th in save percentage. And it looks to be about, I think it's 16th or 17th in goals saved above expected. Not a huge number, positive or negative, but more positive than negative. Pickard, on the other hand, is, save percentage isn't good. Goals against average isn't great. Goals saved above expected is negative. So not ideal. But what did you make of Skinner's play on the odd man rush chances in Seattle on Saturday night?
Well, I'll give you 2 quick things here on just on their total numbers. Skinner, by clear sight numbers, is just a hair below expected, which isn't bad. Seattle game hurt a little bit. So sort of a little further down the list league-wide, though, although, there's some small sample guys in here, single game guys.
I only use guys who played 5 games for mine. So
they would definitely be up there. But he's just right around expected, and you're right. It's been a tough start for Calvin. At the same time, as we talked about last year on the flip side of it, like Calvin had an expected save percentage that was near the top of the league last year. And right now, it's a full 20 points below. So in terms of what he's facing quality-wise, whether that's the defense in front of him or some of the matchups, like when you go from an expected of like 901, 902 to right now he's at 884, which is well below league average, that's a huge jump. He's seeing a lot more quality. And you're right. I thought he was good last night, actually. I thought he made I thought there were some really good saves in there. There was the backdoor on Reichel that allowed them to tie the game and get an extra point. There was a couple going across the crease. So I didn't mind his game at all. I know the results haven't been there. With Stu, I kind of haven't minded his game overall either, except you're right. Like the Seattle odd man rush goals, they don't look great. Sort of catches his pad as he goes to push right on the second one and ends up sort of almost stumbling over it and diving across. And I go back to depth. And, again, on that odd man rush, it's that shooter, that puck carrier is not at a point where you need to be challenging. And, he is out well past the top of his crease. And I think that's a play that he needs to be playing from inside his crease and let it come to him. And then that push across is just so much shorter. And you keep things in front of you rather than trying to play catch up. When you're behind the play, because you've given yourself so much distance to cover, it's hard to get early angle when you're that far out. It's hard to keep the game in front of you. And so when you're behind the game, that's when you panic and you dive, or whether he caught an edge on his pad, or that was just, I got to get there faster than I'm going to get there sliding. I need to dive. I don't know which one it was. I didn't have a chance to ask him last night. But when you put yourself in a position to be behind the game, and again, given his relative strength and weaknesses, to me, that's not a spot he should be in. You just make your life that much more difficult. And I know that's something they've been working on. And I think that actually rush chance and the way he played it was a little uncharacteristic. And maybe it was a reaction to the first one, because the first one, he's got a neutral depth. He pushes across, he gets himself on his knees, balance, gets there, and it kind of handcuffs him. And if you look at it, again, I wish I had a chance to ask him last night. He comes across to his post, and actually it feels to me almost like he hits his post before the puck gets there. And that sort of interrupts his ability to stay on that puck and his balance and all those things. So there, maybe the reaction is, I played that deep. I hit my post and it jarred me and it cost me a chance to make a good save. I'm going to play the next one how I used to play it. I don't know. I don't know what's going through his mind. You have to ask him. And I give them the benefit of the doubt on the processing of this. But they were juxtaposed. Even if the first one cost him because he went into the post, maybe make that push just above the post next time. I still would prefer to see him have that depth for the second one. I think the difference would be he has a chance on the first one. He gets there, and he doesn't give himself a good enough chance on the second one. And, hey, man, this is really easy to do from my couch, but that's how I look at those goals.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. Right. He can be better there. Now, you mentioned like the Oilers are giving up more quality chances early on in their first 10 games this year than they did last season. Right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, certainly the environment for Calvin would be an indication of that. Sorry, Jason, just the Wi-Fi is a little sketchy keeping up with me and our conversation. So I'm pulling up their numbers, and yeah, they're in the bottom half of the NHL, not by far, but 5-on-5 high danger chances against, they're 18th. Off the rush, they're 16th. Their PK is 9th. That's not bad. But like, this is a team that's been top 5, top 10 in most of those categories traditionally. So that game hasn't been there. We've talked about how they're not generating much offensively. 24th in the league in terms of 5-on-5 high danger rush, 27th overall expected goals for 5-on-5. Even 10th on the power play is low by their standards in terms of expected. So at both ends of the rink, yeah, it's early. They've done this before and pulled out of it, but it's not just the results in terms of the goals that are going in on the goalies and the goals that aren't being scored. The underlying process doesn't look the same as it has in the past, and the underlying numbers are not flattering at all, considering where the expectations are for this team.
Yeah. So your numbers, you say, like, basically they're bottom 5 and bottom 10 when it comes to high danger chances, 5-on-5 and then off the rush. And that should be the strength of this team. So I think anybody who's watched the Oilers games would agree that through 10 games, the offense has been the biggest culprit for this team.
Yeah, numbers back that up. And actually, honestly, over the weekend, those numbers bumped up. They were even further below going into Seattle. They were even further down. They generate something. I mean, that pass to Bouchard and Draisaitl on the breakaway last night, like, they had some looks. They had a 2-on-0. Like, as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins told us after, he's got to find a way to bury that.
Yeah.
That's a play, especially with Roslovic on his 1T side. Demko sort of stayed middle depth. Like, you go to your backhand when you've got a guy to the 1T side. And again, really easy from my couch to question elite NHL shooters and skill players, or in the front seat of my car in this case. But those are opportunities that I think when this team is really clicking, they're finding ways to capitalize on them. 2-on-0 is a unique animal, but I thought there were some chances they had last night. And tip your cap to Demko. He made some pretty good saves as well.
Yeah, he was good. It wasn't like he was in game 2 of that of the season. When
he didn't have to be.
No, exactly. They didn't test him that much. Now, the Oilers come to town, they're back home, and they've got the Utah Mammoth coming in tomorrow night. Now, Utah has won 7 in a row. They're scoring at will. Their top 2 lines are scoring a lot. They got Schmaltz is tied for the league in 16 points. Cooley's got 7 goals. Gunther's got 11 points. Keller's got 12 points. Like, they got a lot of guys producing. I was looking at Vejmelka's numbers, and it's interesting, Kev. So he's got a 905 save percentage. Skinner's got a 903 save percentage. Vejmelka has a 2.43 goals against. Skinner has a 2.31. So, pick your poison, which one, they're basically the same. I was looking, though, Utah seems to have given up more chances in the slot, according to the NHL Edge site thus far. So is Vejmelka outperforming? Even with a 905 and a 2.43, is he outperforming his environment so far this season?
By a pretty significant margin, Jason.
Okay.
He's actually, and here's the one that I didn't see coming, and full mea culpa. So is Vitek Vanacek. That is not being, as much as the win streak and the offense comes as advertised from Utah, defensively, it's almost like they've decided to trade chances, which is really interesting in today's NHL. Also real interesting given, what I know of their head coach, Andre Tournier, and conversations I've had with him in the past, including with some Hockey Canada stuff, where he seems to understand the importance of quality, not just not giving it up, but specifically not giving up chances that, leave your goaltenders hung out to dry, like actually having systems right down to the PK. When he was in Colorado, they would PK different when it was Varlamov in net versus Jaguar, because each goalie had different strengths, and he understands that. Right now, unless there's something in the water that I'm missing in terms of the chances they are giving up being specific to their goalie's strengths, they're giving up a lot. Vanacek has an expected save percentage of 881. He's outperforming it by plus 2.5%. Even with the small sample guys, he's only played a couple games, but even with the small sample guys, that's 14th. Vejmelka's expected save percentage is 883. And he's plus 1.6% on that. So, if you get down to the sort of minimum 100 shot guys, he's top 10 in the National Hockey League right now. So, you take a look, this is the, apples and oranges comparisons, but Jmelka's raw numbers compared to how he's actually performed, the raw numbers probably don't do justice to how good he's been, because as good as they are offensively, it's been at the expense of giving up chances at the other end, which be interesting for the Oilers to me, because to me, when they're at their best, they're a team that stifles other teams and creates chances off the turnovers that they generate. And that opportunity would appear to be there against Utah. But again, the firepower is so good, you really have to execute defensively or it doesn't matter because they convert so well.
Yes, that's very true. Then you got the Rangers coming to town. They lost in they gave up 5 goals to the Calgary Flames, who could barely score 5 goals in their first 9 games. Kev, like the Rangers, it was funny because their first 7 or 8 games defensively, they didn't give up a ton. Well, Shesterkin was playing great, but they couldn't score. But to get lit up by 5 goals by the team who couldn't score to save their life, what do you make of the Rangers' woes right now?
Yeah, it's interesting because up until like last night, obviously killed his numbers pretty much. I haven't checked, trying to think of last time I checked on this, because right now I look at Igor Shesterkin, he's 24th in the NHL in adjusted save percentage. And the last time I looked at that was probably actually, the last time we talked, so probably a week ago. Like, he was the guy. He was the best. And the defensive numbers, like, we're looking at expected save percentages, both above 900 for him and Quick.
Yeah.
And so it feels like there's dysfunction is way too strong a word there. They're obviously missing Trocheck. But it just, like, whatever they're trying to do, something just feels off with how they're doing it. I actually, I heard the quotes from JT Miller when they weren't scoring, talking about the process being good. And honestly, it did. It looked good at that time. Like their expected numbers during some of those games, like it was just, they got goaltended in a few of them. And so it looked like the process was better. Right now, the process is sort of slipped offensively. They're not scoring. The process is also slipping. They've been great defensively. Like, they've got some of the best, other than the penalty kill, they've got some of the best defensive metrics in the league. Like, we talk about expected goals off the rush, and that should be the bread and butter of the Oilers. So far this season, that's something the Rangers do not give up. And that's something they've always given up until the coaching change. I can't figure out what's going on at the goaltending. I haven't had a chance to look through the 5 goals last night. It was exceptional early on. It would appear that there is really good defending in front of them. And maybe this is just a 1 or 2 game blip, but it looks like the bottom fell out. And when you're struggling to score and you're trying to get guys to buy into the process defensively, but the puck goes in and you're losing anyways, that can become a real uphill battle for a coach who's in his first year. And so I'm kind of curious to see what they look like here in Vancouver, obviously with JT Miller's return tomorrow night, or I should say home in Vancouver when I get there this afternoon, to sort of see what it looks like in real time, because right now the numbers don't really match the results on either end of the rink.
You think Shesterkin plays all 3, or do you think the Oilers might see Quick on Thursday?
I would have said all 3 because they're spaced out.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, the way it went in Calgary, if we see a change there. I'm actually nervous because I was hoping to talk to Jonathan Quick tomorrow, and if he's starting, I probably won't get to. And I've had 4 teams come through Vancouver, Jason. I've yet to talk to a single visiting goaltender with today's schedule and no practices and all those things. I'm not sure. I think, like, the results, if they're looking at those results and saying, fatigue is a factor here, then whoever, like, I think you could see them split these next 2, and I'm not sure which order. I originally thought it would be all 3 Shesterkin. Maybe that changes based on last night's results if they read that as a fatigue thing.
Okay. Kevin Woodley joins. Spencer Knight in Chicago has had an unreal start by the numbers. What are the underlying numbers telling you?
The underlying numbers are just as flattering. Now, they're not as bad defensively as they have been. He's just a hair below expected, but he is outperforming it. Like, he's outperforming it at a margin that is number 1 in the National Hockey League amongst any goaltender that's seen at least 100 shots. Better than Connor Halley, who, by the way, that environment was loose at the start of the season. He's outperformed it at a significant margin. We talk about Jakub Dobiš, who's so good to start the season 5-0. Like, Spencer Knight's ahead of all these guys. And listen, like, good for him, because the the eye test has always been there, Jason.
Yeah.
He's always looked, but the numbers haven't. Outside of the start in Florida, like they weren't there last year, although, again, you're going to a new team, a much looser environment. The numbers just haven't been there to the point where even I was like, geez, everything I watched looks great, but I can't ignore these numbers. Am I missing something here? Like, do I have to, get, less high on him, so to speak, when I talk about him? So I'm kind of glad that he's doing this because his game has always looked really good. I love how he thinks the game. He's a real no stone unturned. Like, he's done a good job of finding the ability to walk away from it when he's not playing, but he really digs into the game and the minutia and everything he needs to do to make himself better. And he's been not just better, but, like I said, frankly, the best in the NHL so far this season. Now, next step is you got to keep doing it, right? Like, that's the hardest part of being a number one. And as much as he's played a lot for a young goaltender, he got an early start right out of college. It's not been in this role before. And so there will probably be bumps along the road, especially with that team. There will be times where he has to learn how to manage his game, manage his body, manage his rest in different manners. But right now it's a fantastic start. And for the first time in a while, you're sort of being like, hey, that's what it's supposed to happen when it looks that good. That's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to win. You're supposed to have numbers like that. It's nice to see it coming together for a guy who, hey, I'm biased. Every time I talk to him, I learn something. Fantastic conversations about the position, and I love his approach to it, and it's nice to see that paying off for him.
Any goalie early on that's given you some concern for a starting goaltender? Like if I just look at, numbers, guys like Wolf has an 886. Now maybe that's environment. Linus Ullmark has an 870 save percentage. Anthony Stolarz has an 885 save percentage. Jake Ottinger's under 900. Darcy Kemper's 887. Vasilevsky of all people is 892. Is there any star? Sorokin's 875. Any starter where you look and say, I'm a little concerned?
Well, how about this one from a Canadian perspective? Sam Montembeault has really struggled. I just talked to him here in Seattle. Montreal was down here, came down to talk to all three Kraken goalies, and that's something we can get into next week, how they're managing with three goalies to make sure they keep Joey Decord fresh. Sam Montembeault, as good as Dobish has been, Montembeault's at the exact opposite end of the spectrum, and it's not environment. He's got an expected of 905. I go a little bit up the list, and there's Jordan Binnington with an expected of 896, 56 out of 68 goaltenders. Montembeault 64th. Aiden Hill's hurt. Like, from a Canadian Olympic standpoint, those guys are off to a really tough start. And weird games in St. Louis, so I know enough to know that even though the expected save percentage is decent, it feels like they're an on-off team, and there's been some nights where Binnington's been hung out to dry, but, we know he's capable of better than that. That one jumps out at me a little bit. The other one is Markstrom, who's reportedly talking contract extension, and obviously a name that probably Oilers fans are keeping an eye on. But his adjusted save percentage is just barely above Calvin Pickard's so far this season. Now, again, for him, it's a small sample, but those are the ones that jump out the most. There's a few. Like, there's tough start for John Gibson. He's still digging out of that first game hole, but well below expected. Aiden Hill, before he got hurt, well below expected. Linus Ullmark, still well below expected. Bobrovsky, Kemper, like, these are some really big names that are a full 2% below expected early this season. Don't expect it to last. You mentioned Ottinger, again, another year where he's below expected. So some things to keep an eye on. Philip Gustafsson as well. Right back to one great year, one bad year. Last year was fantastic. And at least at the start right now, as a guy who's played amongst the most, only Wolf's played more, sitting below minus 0.8%. So too early to panic. We talked about the 20-game mark being before we start to judge these guys, but you certainly have an eye on some that are that far, below that sort of break-even league average level, especially the ones that are starters and playing more.
Kev, fantastic stuff as always, buddy. We appreciate it. Decord, when he doesn't play, he doesn't even dress, and so they'll dress the two other goalies, which is probably music to his ears. He doesn't have to go through anything, just gets to relax, and so we can touch on that. I'll be curious to see how long that lasts. in Seattle. But so far, so good for them. They're off to a really good start.
As long as he keeps playing that well, and when they back-to-backs and he's playing the second half of it, not only does he not play the first one, they fly him ahead to the next city, so he's not arriving late with the team. He's there, he's rested, he's getting a proper night's sleep. He just told me it's been a massive thing for him. That and NHL Sense Arena, he uses the VR to prevent having to go on ice to see pucks, so he stays fresh without taxing himself physically. It's a really interesting mix they've got going. I look forward to getting into it more.
Yeah, I want to talk about that VR next week for sure. Awesome stuff, Kev. Really appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks.
That's Kevin Woodley from Ingle Magazine and NHL.com. So, by the numbers, Utah is scoring a lot, giving up a fair amount of chances, but Vejmelka has kept them in with a 2.43 goals against average. Some people might just look at the save percentage. That's why you always got to dig a little bit deeper on things. So if you look at it and you go to the NHL Edge stats, Utah is giving up a ton of chances in the low slot. Now, are the Oilers actually going to go to the low slot? That's a great question. So we can talk about that and more when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
When you have lifting and material handling needs, Northwest Crane delivers. Western Canada's Sani dealer, backed by the industry's toughest one. 3 years, 3,000 hours, no compromises. They service all crane makes and models with skilled technicians and deep industry expertise. Alberta owned, with locations in Leduc and Grand Prairie, and fully equipped service trucks. Northwest Crane keeps your operation lifting. For more information on sales or service, visit northwestcrane.com or call today.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Did you know The Brick is proudly Canadian-owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality-made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. The Brick, saving you more.
Visit thebrick.com and use our store locator to find a Brick store near you.
5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints, are excited to be back on the ice at the brand new Thompson Family Arena. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best junior hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $10 to $17 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sgsaints.ca.
When you've just got to get your wings on, bring it on to Game On is Sherwood Park's new home for game night and good times. Every hump day is Wing Wednesday, and you know you're going to need extra napkins. Get your wings done the way you like with classic or signature sauces, or try them with a dry rub. Just 69 cents each, 25 flavors to choose from. And while you're here for Wing Wednesdays, you can enjoy $4 sleeves of Tilt Lager. So fly the coop and come to Game On Kitchen, Sports Bar, Arcade, Baseline Road, Sherwood Park.
Groceries, mortgage payments, family holidays, a new car. That's what profit shares look like for Vision Credit Union members. Each year, we return about 75% of our profits, $35 million last year, to the people who bank with us. Because at Vision Credit Union, when you're an owner, you get your share. Why not get yours? Learn how at whatsyourshare.ca. That's whatsyourshare.ca.
Albertans celebrate a bounty of beautiful places to visit, boundless adventures to take, all in driving distance. And Sherwood Honda has the fuel-efficient vehicle that helps you go even further and appreciate more. Hybrid CRVs and Civics mean more thanks in your tanks, more great trips to be grateful for. And of course, Sherwood Honda is thankful for the chance to help you get there. It's a beautiful time of year, and it sure would be nice to hit the road with Sherwood Honda.
Miss golf during the off-season? Of course you do. So head to the Leduc Golf Club and try their state-of-the-art golf simulators. Perfect your swing. Enjoy delicious food and beverages, and even book a lesson with one of the Leduc Golf Club pros. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or just starting, The Leduc Golf Club simulators offer a great way to keep your game sharp any time of the year. Call or visit the Leduc Golf Club today to book your spot and swing into action all year round.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? By Canadian. CanTorque's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at CanTorque.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.248, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Declan Cougar running things at our YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram pages. Check it out for both Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation. Thank you very much for listening and watching. We got a lot of text flying in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. The some news about the Elks. Some bad news. I'm hearing that Joel DeBlanco broke his hand in that game, and so he requires surgery. And wonder if that'll have an impact, because I know he has that window to go to NFL camps and stuff. So that might be impacting that. So we'll see. But I'll say this: I think that's someone that the Elks would definitely like to re-sign in Edmonton. And my understanding is he would like to stay here as well. So we'll see. But that's it's kind of a brutal way to end your regular season. And now you got a little bit. He had surgery this morning, my understanding. So we'll kind of see where that goes. Other news from the weekend. We got a lot of texts. Hey, guys, our offense has been lacking. What do you think we'll get it going here in the next 10 games from Mike? Well, there's a few things, Mike. I think, like, the captain obvious number one thing is Connor McDavid's, like, is he going to go 10 games again and not have a 5-on-5 goal? So I would start there, right? I think he's going to score more. But it's not just, I'm not a big believer in, well, it's just, it'll happen automatically. Well, no, you got to do some things. Connor McDavid is averaging 2.8 shots on goal per game. That is the lowest of his career. Like, if this was the end of the season, he finished 2.8, that'd be the lowest of his career since his rookie season. Right? Last year was actually the second lowest of his career at 2.92. So that's last year. And now this year he's starting off. He's not shooting. He's got to shoot more. So it's not just he has to do everything exactly the same. No, he needs to shoot the puck more. It's that simple. And I think when he does, he will, it'll help the Oilers. It'll help him. So I would start there. McDavid's got to make more of an impact shooting the puck. And the weird part about it is he's skating maybe better than he has. So Connor McDavid currently has the fastest recorded speed in the NHL this year at 24.63 miles per hour. Last year, his fastest speed was 23.97. So it's pretty. Now, keep in mind, so the 24.6, it's actually 24.68. There's only two guys in the league who are within 1 mile an hour of him. So he's being faster than everybody by a significant margin. You look at bursts of 22 miles an hour or more, he's had 18 of them. The next closest is 10. Owen Tippett. Right? No one else is even in double digits. So he's double everyone else in the league other than Owen Tippett, who's at 10 and he's at 18. You look at, he leads the league in most bursts of 20 to 22 miles an hour. The only one he doesn't lead is 18-20. He's second behind Marty Necas of Colorado. McDavid has 123. Necas has 127. And if you look at it from last year, he's actually up in all those areas from last year. So it's good. Like, he's skating better. It just hasn't led to goals yet. And I think that just comes down to a willingness to shoot the puck. Like, you saw it in Seattle. He didn't even have a shot attempt. Never mind miss the net. He didn't even attempt a shot on goal. That can't happen for a player who plays as many minutes as McDavid does. It's not like he's a stay-at-home defenseman who's playing 20 minutes a night. He's one of the most electrifying offensive players in the game. So he needs to shoot more. Talked to Connor before, like on Friday, and he is pretty honest about it. He's like, yeah, like, it just doesn't come natural to him. Now the 1 year he did score 64, but that's kind of an outlier year when you look at his numbers historically, right? Like, that year he was 4.29 shots per game, massive. But the 3 other seasons in his career that he scored 40 goals, he was 3.93, 3.34, and 3.07. He's never been a huge, like, outside of the 1 year. So that's why, to me, that's the outlier for McDavid. The 64 goals is the outlier. He might never score 50 goals again because he doesn't. Now, Sidney Crosby, how many 50-goal seasons he had? 1. McDavid doesn't have to score 50 to be effective. But it shows you that it's not part of his natural way he plays the game. And how he plays the game is obviously great, but he's got to shoot more than 2.8 shots a game. Like, I'm just sorry. You got the puck that much, you got to shoot. Like, you're hurting your team. You're hurting your chances to win, especially when you're in the slot area and you're open and you're looking to dish. Like, sometimes you got to fire the pill. So I would start there, Mike. I think, the other thing, the Oilers, they're starting to show some signs. Leon Draisaitl on the weekend, those are his 2 best games of the season, especially 5-on-5. I thought he was a horse in Seattle. I thought he played really well in Vancouver. So that's a good sign. Trent Frederick, his best game of the season by a mile yesterday, even in Seattle. So Frederick had 12 hits. He had 4 in Seattle. He had 8 in Vancouver. He had 17 hits combined in his first 8 games. 17 and 8, 12 and 2. So he got the memo. He's like, I got to wake up here. And look, Trent Frederick was more physical. How many battles did he win on the boards? He was way more engaged in the game. Now, I know you can't have 8 hits every night. It's not realistic, but I think he showed that that's how he's got to get himself involved and engaged in the game. That line, I thought, had a lot more offensive zone time because of it. They were doing very good in the forecheck, the won battles, and they even when they change, now you're carrying momentum over to the next line. Sure, you'd like him to score some goals. Yes. But if you can carry momentum over and hand it off basically to your next line, that's a win. It's a win for your bottom 6 lines. So that's what you want. So that's a positive to me. The coaching staff switched up the Ekholm and Bouchard pairing because I'm sorry, it wasn't working. Don't give me the, it's unlucky garbage. No, they were on for way too many goals against. Ekholm's been on the ice for 12 goals against 5-on-5 in 10 games. If that was Darnell Nurse, people would be freaking out. Darnell Nurse is -1, 5-on-5. 4 goals for, 5 goals against. Bouchard's -6. Ekholm's -7. 3-9 for Bouchard. 5-12 for Ekholm. Right? And the latter 2 guys play way more with McDavid. So I look at, hey, it's never ideal when your top 3 minute eaters on the blue line are all -5-on-5. Nurse -1, Bouchard -6, 7 for Ekholm. So that's got to improve. Right now, Bouchard, maybe that pass to Draisaitl kind of gets him out of his funk because that was an elite level pass. It's phenomenal. So not many guys are going to make that pass in the NHL. So good on him. He didn't get scored on last night. That's got to, you got to start somewhere to get the thing going from negative to a positive. So he'll use tomorrow maybe as a stepping stone for the Oilers. Zach Hyman's getting closer. We'll find out tomorrow. I think tomorrow will give us a really good sense of maybe where he's at. Saturday is the first game he's eligible to come off of LTIR. So I think definitely, tomorrow's a morning skate, but if he's out there, it's a good sign. And then we'll see like how in depth, how involved is he in a full practice on Wednesday? If he is, then he's got it because then he could practice Friday again. he'd have a decent chance of maybe making his season debut on Saturday. Because make no mistake, they miss him. They miss him around the net. I think he just creates a lot of space in how he plays for McDavid. It would be a good thing if they could get Zach Hyman back in the lineup. Hey guys, the Oilers do skate well, but seems like they're always on the outside. We don't have many guys driving the net. Maybe it takes Hyman to leave that. Thanks from Toothless Dan. Well, Dan, you're right. I think I tweeted after the Seattle game. They're too much of a perimeter team right now. Too much of a perimeter team. So you got to get inside at times. That's where the goals are. All right, circling around with speed is great. Like, hey, maybe Roslovic scoring his first goal. Now he'll relax, but I got to see him in the middle of the ice more too. We got too many guys on the outside. Way too many guys on the outside. So, I think at times McDavid, the other team's like, yeah, we'll give him the perimeter and he can wheel on the outside. You start beating guys to the middle of the ice. Now that's where they get stressed, and that's where they change. Hey, Gregor, everyone in every team can have an off year. McDavid and the Oilers included. That might kind of be the season for this group. They don't look like a playoff team. That could change, but it might not. Doug, they have more points than they had last year through the first 10 games. I think any suggestion that's going to be an off year for the Oilers doesn't make much sense. The Oilers will be fine. They might not win the division, but they haven't won the division since 1988. Or sorry, 1987. It was the last time they won the division. So maybe they're not going to care that much about winning the division. But a slow start, 8 games, doesn't mean that suddenly the Oilers isn't going to be their season. I'd be surprised with that. Let's get to Connor Halley coming up in the 3:00 hour. We'll hear some thoughts from the head coach. We'll also go out to LA. We're going to talk Game 3, Jays and Dodgers. What's your thoughts? Nervous, excited? We'll get you the lineups and more. But first, let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. 2 locations, Sherwood Park and Edmonton, just on the west end off of 100 and it's right on 142nd Street. Local food, healthy food. They got bakery, they got rotisserie, they got pizza, they got it all in one place. And if you have some gluten intolerances, they have the food that many people eat in Europe. And guess what? It's better for you. It doesn't bug you. I know lots of people who can't eat gluten here. They go to Europe. They're like, I'm eating pasta. It's not bugging me. Well, they got that type of pasta there. Better ingredients, loca.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Game 3 of the World Series goes tonight from Los Angeles. Jays and Dodgers tied at a game apiece. First pitch comes just after 6. Max Scherzer and Tyler Glasnow getting the start. We'll have that for you here on Sports 1440 radio feed only. In the NHL, just 2 games on the schedule. Blues take on the Penguins at 5, then at 5:30 the Bruins in Ottawa. Oilers back in action tomorrow, taking on the Mammoth. Week 8 of the NFL season wraps up as the Commanders heading to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. KC enters as 10.5-point favorites. Down gets going at 6:15. Bad news for the Bills as it looks like they'll be without defensive tackle Ed Oliver as he has torn bicep. Elsewhere, Rams placing Tutu Atwell on the IR, meaning he'll miss at least the next 4 weeks. In the association, the Raptors taking on Wemby and the undefeated San Antonio Spurs. That gets going at 6 o'clock. You've also got the Celtics, Pelicans, Bulls host the Hawks, Magic in Philly, Jazz taking on the Suns, Nuggets and Timberwolves, and the Warriors hosting the Grizz. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll talk some Jays with Tyson Shushkwich of Blue Jays Nation and hear another edition of Cam Tate's 2-Minute Warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 furnace replacement company for zombie hunters. Those who know their old decrepit furnace passed away years ago. Its decaying husk shuffling around now as the burden of Legacy Heating will send your undead furnace to its grave, replacing it with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Protect your legacy from the beast in the basement. It's time to destroy the burdens of the dead. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Sure, your couch is comfortable, but watching the game is always better and on the rocks. With crystal clear TVs, you won't miss a single play, and the specials are a major league win. pregame warm-up starts with specials 30 minutes before the puck drops. Get 69-cent wings and $5.75 Molson Canadian and Coors Light drafts. And play score and win every game for your chance to win big. Be part of the action this hockey season. See the menu online at ontherocksyeg.com.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks. Ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Whoa, who turned off all the lights?
Experience the new charcoal menu at Booster Juice.
Charcoal menu?
Introducing the Eclipse Smoothie, Blackout Booster Mixer, and Midnight Booster Ball.
Where's that voice coming from?
Dark and delicious, made with activated charcoal.
Can we please turn the lights back on?
Sorry, I'm just excited about the new charcoal menu.
Wow, that is good.
Right?
Available now, only at Booster Juice.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock, welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca, OilersNation, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Big night tonight, Game 3, the Jays and the LA Dodgers. We're going to get into all of that coming up in about 20 minutes. We'll preview the Jays and the Dodgers. We'll talk more about it. Excited, nervous? What are your thoughts on it? It was quite the pitching performance by Yamamoto. You got to tip your cap to him on Saturday. My goodness, he was really well, and so was Gosman up until the 7th, man. Like he'd retired, I think, 17 consecutive batters at one point. So it was a pitching duel for sure. And unfortunately for the Jays, the Dodgers got 2 big hits, and that was really the difference in the game. Meanwhile, the Edmonton Oilers had 2 losses over the weekend in Seattle, and then an overtime loss in Vancouver. So not ideal for them. Now they come home. They've started the season 4-4-2. They've played 7 of their 10 games on the road so far this season. And in their next 10 games, they will play 5 at home and 5 on the road. So a little bit better, but they've got it. And everybody knew this. They have a heavy road schedule to start the season. And then we'll we'll see what happens. I'll tell you this: after Christmas, they have quite the favorable travel schedule, no doubt, for the Edmonton Oilers. But you got to get some wins there. But we'll get to the oil report now, brought to you by Go Auto. Over 15,000 vehicles to choose from. Whatever you're thinking, they can have it for you. And not only will you get a great deal, you'll get great service at goauto.ca. And the Baby Oilers, who have played a few games down there for the Bakersfield Condors, coming off of a split weekend this past weekend, losing 5-1 on Friday night, but then they bounced back against Tucson with a 3-1 victory. So, I know many of you have questions. How's the goaltending? Is Ingram ready? Now, he's only played 2 games. And I think, you know what? Very good in his first game, not as good in his second game, which is understandable. The guy hasn't played a lot of hockey lately. So I think probably got to be a little bit patient in regards to that. And Ryan Holt, the voice of the Condors, joins us now. Holtzy, welcome back, man. How you doing? Hey, I'm good. I guess, the big question, people in Edmonton, they're always talking about goaltending is Ingram. And is it fair to say, like, really good first game and then kind of an average second game?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it on him. I think it was 3 bad turnovers, 5-on-5, and no real chances on any of them. 2 power play goals against for the group. So I think collectively, I don't think it was the team's best effort in front of them. Really good the first game though, especially having as much time off as he had. So basically, from my perspective, I'm looking at the next, week or 2 weeks, basically still in training camp mode almost for him. So as they build him back up, get him going again, he's been great for us though. And he'll probably start tomorrow night as well too here in Colorado.
Okay. Offensively, Rem Pitlick, who has scored in the NHL, he got 7 points in 5 games. Do his point totals match his play? Has he been the most dangerous offensive guy so far?
I would say he's the most complete 200 foot forward so far for this group, just in terms of his play away from the puck. He's responsibly defensively, kind of a James Hamlin type of player. I think Rem has a little higher ceiling skill wise up front on the wing there, but really impressed with what he's done here early on. A veteran who's come in from other organizations who had that NHL time, and we needed to replenish a couple veterans, obviously with Kajula and Peterson and all of them moving on here this past summer. So he's come in, done a nice job. His brother's been terrific as well too, and they've been nice additions to go along with the core of developing youth up front that makes me feel older by the day.
Speaking of the youth, I noticed that Robbie Arventi has played, but he hasn't played on the second half of back-to-back yet. He's got 5 points in 3 games. He's looked good. He's producing, but obviously they're being very cautious with him coming back.
He's itching to play back-to-back. He's itching to play every game. He's completely healthy. He's basically at a normal workload. They're being super cautious with him, which is, completely understandable given his injury history from the last, 2 seasons. I think, the plan, is probably still on this trip with the 2 back-to-backs here in Colorado and then Calgary to just play one out of the 2 on the back-to-backs. But I think coming back home in November, I think the plan is, at least without travel overnight, I think the plan is for him to get into back-to-backs if we're at home or in the same city, not having to go on a bus and have your knees lock up or anything like that. So, he's been terrific. Can really shoot the puck, and he's been everything that we had talked about him being for the last year and a half, and it's good to see him on the ice.
One guy I know who, if you just looked at point totals, they might say, hasn't done a lot, 2 points in 5 games. But I was told the guy who's maybe been the most consistent at creating chances has been Quinn Hudson.
Yes, he had 7 shots the other night and couldn't score. I think he's going to break out here in a big way pretty soon. He's done everything that's been asked of him. He's great along the walls. He's getting more into the mix here as a complete player, I think. And again, it's just been 5 games, but I think his offensive instincts are going to start taking over for this team. He probably has the best shot on the team. Him and Yaremchuk would have the best shots on the team. And, I think pairing him with a guy like Mariala, whose whole game is getting people open for shooting the puck, is definitely a good combo. So I think he's, a guy who's, about ready to break out, and whether the point totals will show it or not here early on, I'm not sure, but he's a guy who has impacted the game. He's playing over 22 minutes a night, I think. So, wow. Really, really impressed with what he's done and come in here with a great attitude and a welcome addition, certainly, to the rim.
Now, is it pronounced Marhala or Marjala?
I go soft, Jay. He says just call me Will and don't even say my last name, but I go Mariala. With the last name. So I'm sure once he gets to the NHL that will change. But for now, that's at least how he said it to me. So that's what I go with.
Well, no, I was because I didn't talk to him, but I saw him at camp, and he looked pretty slight to me. Like, I like his creativity. He's clearly very skilled. I think he's going to have to get stronger. How has he looked in the American League so far?
Yeah, I think he had a terrific first game. I think he lost his way a little bit for 3 games. We didn't see the high event type of offense that we had come to expect, at least from one game. I mean, the season opener, he looked like the greatest AHL player we've ever had here. So, I think maybe we tempered our expectations a little bit for 3 games. He was very good the other night in Tucson on Saturday. More glimpses of what we saw on opening night. Tremendously skilled offensively. I put him in the Ryan McLeod category, especially at this level of being able to create offense off the rush. He's a guy who's a pass-first guy. He's looking to set up others. And you put him with 2 shooters, whether it's Yarventy on his left and Hudson on his right. Griffith, I think Max Jones might get a shot there tomorrow. So I've been impressed with him. And again, that's a low risk, high reward type of play from the organization here over the summer is getting him in the organization basically for nothing and, having him, really develop here. So definitely slighter on the build. So we'll get Travis Lay, our strength and conditioning coach, cooking in that department, but he's definitely skilled when he's on the ice.
On the blue line, this guy was rather intriguing player to watch down in in the preseason, right? Lepinen, how's he looked for you guys?
He's been high event at both ends. I think that's something that we'll need to clean up here moving forward. But I was chatting with him pregame on Saturday and kind of joking with him. Tonight's the night. And he had some opportunities, he had some sniffs. It hadn't gone in for him. Scores on the power play. Hopefully that unlocks, the offensive nature of his game. He didn't go many games without a point last year in the Finnish league. So I think it was getting to him maybe a little bit. And again, it's an adjustment, right?
Yep.
You're coming over this time in North America. It's a huge adjustment. The lifestyle's different. The back-to-backs are different. The travel's different. Everything feels a little different. So I was kind of joking with Keith Gretzky. I said, I'm gonna give him 10 games to see what he ends up being, but I think he's going to be a guy this team's going to depend on throughout the season. Offensive instincts are going to come to the forefront. Certainly has areas of his game on the back end that need to be cleaned up, and Keith McCambridge does a great job. Developing defensemen like that. Obviously, Atro's a little bit older at 26, but still could be a guy who can blossom here in the latter stages of his 20s.
Who has he been playing with?
He's with Cam Dineen. Yeah,
Okay.
The D pairs have stayed the same pretty much since Carfagna got healthy here over the weekend. So Carfagna's been with Prokop, who's been very good here early on this season. The 2 veteran kind of stay-at-home defensemen with Stillman and Brown, and then Dineen and Lepinen as kind of the top pairing, and then both of them quarterback either of the power play units.
Okay. One guy who was a fan favorite in the preseason was Connor Clattenburg. Like, just kind of knows his role. He's physical. He runs around. He's aggressive. I noticed on your lines he'd gotten bumped up a bit for a game, but I don't know if he's a top line player at the American League. How has he looked down in the American League his first year as a pro?
I tell you, he made a big mistake on Friday night. He came out from behind his own net in a 3-1 game, a game where we had, momentum, had some power plays building, and, tried to, do it all himself and go 1-on-3 out in front of the net, turned over, and ended up in the back of the cage. I liked what the coaching staff did in a young player. You're going to make mistakes. This is the league to make the mistakes in, not the National Hockey League, because one, it's likely not going to be seen and you're not going to have to think about it. I loved what the coaching staff did. And I was talking with Colin Chalk prior to the game Saturday. and mentioning about Clattenburg being with Mariala and Hudson. And he said to me, hey, big mistake last night. Let's see how he responds tonight. And I thought he had a fantastic game on Saturday. Will he be up there all the time? I don't believe so. I think you're right in that regard. That's not necessarily his forte, but I thought that he was straight line. He created opportunities for Mariala and Hudson. He freed them up a little bit. And yeah, he gets in the mix all the time. I've joked with him, hey, you only get 10 fights in this league. Let's make them all count at home, please. Give the home fans something to watch. But yeah, it's been great to have him. I think, he's a throwback kind of player. You don't have many of him left in hockey, which is great. He can play, but he's also tough and physical, and he's done that so far this season.
Yeah, well, it's good to see, but he brings an element that they just don't have a lot of in the organization, both at the NHL level and down there. And I think if, his skating, he actually impressed me, Ryan. Like I was like, wow, this guy skates better than I thought. And so down at the American,
was with Mariala and Hudson. It wasn't, they weren't dragging him.
Yeah.
He was with them, and he makes plays too. He's not afraid to shoot the puck. Really impressed with him. I think he's a great addition to the organization. Is he playing in the NHL this year? No, I don't think so. But he's a guy who, you develop him, and who knows, down the road, we'll see what you have, in 2-3 years, because he's one of only a few 20-year-olds. I know we have a lot of new guys to the organization, but a lot of them are 22, 23 that have come in. He's one of the fresh-faced 20-year-olds.
How about, as we're joined by Ryan Holt, voice of the Bakersfield Condors, what about the Oilers AHL affiliate? What about Young in his first year coming over? The big center iceman, I think he's got 2 assists, Josh Szymanski. How has he looked overall?
Yeah, really confident kid. He's a guy who, is built, like a Ram truck. I think he's 6'3" and 230. He's a big kid. Has some offensive awareness as well, too. He had probably the best morning skate I've ever seen the other day on Friday. And a couple of the club hockey teams from the University of Colorado and the University of Arizona were watching. And there was oohs and ahs at him in morning skate. Now, that needs to translate into the game. The offensive skills are there. It's the 200-foot game. It's being able to be physical. And again, this league is more of a grind than it is in the DEL. So learning his way early on. He's played, right down the middle of the ice. He's PK'd as well too, which is great. That'll be a tool for him moving forward. He's really hit it off with a guy like James Hamlin, who actually speaks German as well too. Not that Szymanski doesn't speak perfect English. He speaks better English than I do, but he's been great. I think, just another young kid that we've added into the mold here that has had a great impact early on and will continue to develop.
Ryan, thanks so much for joining us last minute, man. We really appreciate the rundown, and enjoy the week. We'll talk to you again throughout the year. Appreciate your time.
Not a problem, Jason. I appreciate you thinking of me.
There you go. That's Ryan Holt, the voice of the Condors. Always like to get the baby Oiler update for you diehard Oiler fans. I will say this, having talked to some people, I don't think, honestly, if the Oilers got into a rash of injuries, I think the players that would be recalled first would likely be Max Jones, because you know what he is as an NHL player, and James Hamlin. Robbie Yarventi, Quinn Hudson. Robbie Yarventi's looked really good, but again, he hasn't played back-to-back yet. So they're still cautious about him, not giving him too much physically coming off those injuries, right? He's had a few years of injuries, so it's better to play safe. Now, eventually he'll get up to speed, but he's big, he can skate, all that. But I'm just saying, if it was right now today, he wouldn't be coming up, is my understanding. Now, the Oilers have extra fours, and Zach Hyman's coming back, so I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. But, I think long-term, there's no question Yarventi probably has the best potential, but I would recommend you probably got to be some patience with him, see where he's at. We'll see how he does and how he feels once he starts playing back-to-back and maybe 3 and 4 nights, and then you kind of just get onto a regular schedule. But I think it's been smart for them to just kind of rest him and not throw him in. Of course, he wants to play, but sometimes you've just got to look out for what's best for the player. As much as they want to play right away, coming off the injuries that he's had the last few seasons, it's better off to be safe than sorry. Take a quick break. We will return, and it's the Jays and the Dodgers. We'll get your thoughts, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We'll discuss the starting pitching lineup and more when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You'll see us digging holes. No, we're not looking for buried treasure. You'll see us digging trenches as well. And no, we're not building a fort. We're GS Construction, and you'll see us in neighborhoods throughout the Edmonton area. So what are we doing? GS Construction provides rehabilitation and upgrade services to Edmonton and surrounding communities. Some of our underground utilities have served us for years and are past their useful lives. We replace them, so they're around for years to come. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth, fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Start your day with a blast of sports. Kevin Carius, along with Brandon Douglas, brings the fire, the fun, and the fearless takes. Weekdays, 7 to 11. Text Kevin, 883-401-1440. Mornings with Sports 1440.
Carve out for a cause at the Jason Gregor Pizza Pig Out, presented by GS Construction. Thursday, November 6th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza from amazing local pizzerias while you help raise some dough for kids' sport. Then vote for your favorite slice to help crown the People's Choice Award winners. Tickets to join Edmonton's biggest and best adult pizza party are just $30. Head to jasongregorpizzapigout.com for more details and to buy tickets.
Whoa, who turned off all the lights?
Experience the new charcoal menu at Booster Juice.
Charcoal menu?
Introducing the Eclipse Smoothie, Blackout Booster Mixer, and Midnight Booster Ball.
Where's that voice coming from?
Dark and delicious, made with activated charcoal.
Can we please turn the lights back on?
Sorry, I'm just excited about the new charcoal menu.
Wow, that is good.
Right?
Available now, only at Booster Juice.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent and non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.325. Welcome back. Gregor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Remember, if you're watching on the Sports 1440 YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Give a thumbs up, Cons, and Deck will very much appreciate. Maybe even leave a comment, see what they're talking about. You know what? You probably should talk with Declan about the fact that college football is firing coaches like it's the NHL right now. Are you kidding me? That is 10 coaches, I think, that have already been fired this season in college football. And make no mistake how much money those colleges have and you see how much they're paying out coaches not to coach for them. It is absolutely wild. And what is wild is that tonight, 8:08 will be the first pitch. Game 3, the World Series. The Jays and the Dodgers. Glasnow on the mound for the Jays, going up against Scherzer. And man, Glasnow, he's got a 0. He doesn't have a record. He doesn't have a win or loss officially, but he's got a 0.68 ERA and 18 Ks in the playoffs. This guy throws heat, but the Jays, they don't strike out a lot. So we'll see. Can they get bat on ball tonight as we get to our World Series report? Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca from Blue Jays Nation. Tyson Fiskowicz joins us. Tyson, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, Tyson, are you surprised that Scherzer over Bieber tonight for Game 3?
I don't think so overall, just because when you look at the resume that Scherzer has when it comes to pitching in the postseason and, you know, being in these big moments, I think it's a good idea to kind of go to him, mostly because you also kind of have to measure expectations on what happens if he doesn't go long tonight. You know, you can turn to Bassett, you can turn to Lauer to kind of eat up some innings. And I think the Jays going into this might have a little bit more confidence that Bieber might be able to go a little further into the game. So I don't think it's too crazy to have them kind of flip-flop like this, but I think they're really just going with the veteran experience kind of with Scherzer right out of the hop.
Glasnow has been absolutely throwing heat in the postseason. But the Jays, hey, we saw it that they don't strike out a ton. Now, Yamamoto was unbelievable on the mound, and you just got to kind of tip your hat to him. How do you see them approaching Glasnow tonight?
Yeah, with Glasnow, you kind of got to wait him out. He has the strikeout stuff to be such a dominant presence on the mound, but there's a lot of times where he can really just kind of lose that strike zone presence. So if I'm the Jays, you know, I just kind of stick with the status quo that's been working with them for all season, and that's wear down your opposing pitcher, keep fouling off those pitches that don't make sense, and staying away from the garbage outside the zone, right? And there's a reason the Jays ranked really well when it came to strikeouts and just not getting themselves into those situations. And I think if you can have the top of the order, you know, the Springer and Lucas, you know, set the stage and just keep fouling off those pitches and doing damage on those mistakes if he's not finding the zone, that's how the Jays win this game today.
So the lineup tonight for those listening, Springer leading off a DH, Lucas left field, Guerrero first base, Bichette playing second base, hitting cleanup, Varsho is fifth, Kirk sixth, Barger seventh, Clement, and Jimenez with, of course, Scherzer as the starting pitcher. And, you know, Barger and Clement have Barger, ever since he hit that home run late in game, was it game 3 or 4, whatever the blowout game was. I think it was game 3. And then he has been a totally different player since then. And obviously everybody, you know, he had the first ever pitch hit grand slam in game 1. And, you know, he's got a rocket of an arm in the outfield as well. You look at this lineup, and if they're against a righty, is this kind of the lineup you expect all the time, or is it all going to depend on, do you think Bo Bichette can go back-to-back games yet?
I think with a right-hander on the mound, this is kind of what you expect when Bo Bichette is healthy, right? And when he is good to go, his bat's got to be near the top of the lineup, just because, A, it's what worked for this team for a good chunk of the season once Springer is kind of hitting his way back to the top of the lineup. And I think it really helps with Bichette being in that 4 spot, because with how Guerrero's been playing this postseason, like, pitchers got to attack that guy. Or if they want to miss him, well, now you got to deal with Bichette. And Bichette was, you know, hitting the ball well before he went down with injury. And even in the first game there, he was hitting all right too, and just, you know, putting together some strong at bats. So when he's healthy, I think this is kind of your go-to lineup. And then if he's not ready to go and you have Kiner Falesa in, then you kind of can move Barger up in the lineup to kind of occupy that power 4 spot, just because, again, you know that he can really hit the ball well if he's seeing it well. And I think with how this lineup stacks up, I think overall you're going to see this be the go-to when Bichette is healthy. And I think that just kind of stands testament to Clement and all the guys at the bottom of the lineup just being able to turn it over for Springer and Lucas and Guerrero to do damage along the board. I really like how it's shaping up.
You look back to game 2 and the first inning, I'm sure if there was what if, that was the scenario for the Jays. You know, you got Yamamoto, who's been great, and you had runners on first and third with no out, and you don't find a way, like even if Guerrero hits into a double play, you're probably scoring a run in the first inning. They'll probably just give it up. And so, you look back at how much that might have changed just in that first inning. But that Yamamoto performance is one of the best pitching performances you've seen in a long, long time. Like he never, even when he gave up the first and third, like he never really looked like he was in trouble.
Yeah, no, he pitched like he was supposed to, right? Like that ace mentality going out there. It's the reason he got paid the big bucks when he came over from Japan. And I think just with how he pitched here, how he pitched against the Brewers, like he's obviously on a roll. And for the Jays to go into that inning and kind of not come away with damage, like that's what hurts the bottom line at the end of the day. Because when it comes to just getting that momentum on your side, trying to get to, this Dodgers bullpen, which hasn't been that strong as of late, is missing a couple of really key characters. Like there's ways that the Jays can get to, even Glasnow tonight, right? Like trying to get to that Dodgers bullpen is just one of the best ways this Blue Jays can put themselves in a really good spot to win. And it just goes back to those moments that you talked about earlier, where when you have runners on the corner, you got to find a way to score at least one or two. You don't have to hit the home run, but you got to keep passing the baton. That's just the way the Jays have been playing this season. And it's that same mentality that's going to go a long way for them tonight if they can continue to find that rhythm that got them to this moment.
What did you make of, Bo Bichette starts game one, didn't go back to back. So do we know yet, could he play tomorrow, or is he a guy who's going to play game 3 tonight? Then he's a pinch hitter. Then he'll play game 5. Do we know yet?
No, that's a card the Jays kind of keep close to your chest, right? Like you don't want to, if everyone else knows, then the Dodgers know, and everyone can kind of plan accordingly. And I think it's really just a touch and go thing, right? Like we all know he's not 100%, but at the same time, there's a fair argument to say that, George Springer, with how many times he's been hit this season, he's not 100%. Like Dalton Varshaw's not 100%. Like all these guys are just laboring right now as the World Series is kind of, hitting its stride. And I think the Jays are just taking it one game at a time, because at the end of the day, they know that when Bichette is healthy and swinging like he can, this Blue Jays team becomes even more dangerous than what we've seen when he's, hasn't been in the lineup prior to the World Series. So I think it's really touch and go. The Jays have been pretty heavy on doing the matchup play, right? Like that's why we saw Barger come in off the bench on game one. And even though that left-hander Banda came in, like he still got a good hit on. And I think the Jays are still going to keep doing that, but I think it's still pretty close to their chest on what they want to do with Bichette. But I think if he says every day that I'm good to go, like he's going to be in that lineup unless Schneider thinks something differently with matchup wise.
What's your thoughts on the probability that Bo Bichette re-signs with Toronto at the end of the season?
It's a unique situation because we think back to this previous winter, right? Like the two biggest questions were the future of this Blue Jays organization when it came to Guerrero and Bichette. And with Guerrero now locked up, right, now that attention turns to Bichette, and it makes sense why he didn't sign after last season, right? He didn't have the year that he wanted. He struggled with his health, and just when he was healthy, he wasn't putting the best swings on the ball. And this season, he really exploded onto the scene again and became that guy that, if he was healthy to finish the season, he was probably going to lead the league in hits and potentially doubles. And that's the kind of player that the Jays expected. And I think when you look at the overall arching future of this organization, there's a lot of merit when Bichette comes out and says, I want to play for this organization. I want to win with Guerrero. Like those are things that, for people who have been around the clubhouse and have talked to Bichette before, like he's not the biggest media personality out there. He's not on the Crustables commercials and whatnot. And when he talks, like everyone listens. And I think when it comes to him in the future of this organization, there is a lot of merit when it comes to his potential of re-signing with Toronto, whether that's, maybe a 1-year prove-it deal to see if he can, do it again, or maybe cash in more lucratively in the future, or maybe it is a long-term deal, right? And I think when it comes to the Blue Jays and Bichette, there's just got to be a middle ground on the number that works. And I think the Jays have a bit of an advantage when it comes to they're making money this postseason. Rogers has proven before that they're willing to spend in the right scenarios and use money accordingly to bolster this roster. And you have a couple players like, the Scherzers and the Bassetts that are coming off the books now, and a couple more off the next year. So if you're trying to find a way for the salary for Bichette in the future, you got a couple ways to make it work there too, right? So I think at the end of the day, it's just the business side of baseball. And as much as Bichette says he wants to be here, he also wants to cash in on a free agent year that he's 100% entitled to do. So I think if I'm a betting fan, I think the Jays are definitely going to be close in the running. And I think when it comes to, it'll go a long way if they win the World Series, obviously. But I think right now that it's looking pretty positive.
Wow, that would be fascinating. If they could get him on a short-term deal, I'd be blown away. Like, you look at these big-term deals that other guys have got. Like, Bichette led the league in hits, but it is, it's something he doesn't, he's a good hitter. He was leading the league, would have led the league in doubles, good contact hitter, but he doesn't seem to carry that superstar status with him. Like, I don't know, maybe other teams will view him that way, but you kind of get that sense, like, really good player, but he's not in the category that maybe teams like, man, I don't know if I want to go 12 years with this guy.
Well, I think it just kind of boils down to, if you look at other shortstops across the league, right? Like, you're always going to be playing the comparison game, and you have, the guys in the upper echelons of your Trey Turners and all that. And obviously a couple names I'm not thinking off the top of my head. And when it comes to Bichette, like, there has been questions about his defense at shortstop, right? Like, maybe his second base is his future when it comes to, securing a long-term deal. But at the end of the day, when you sign Bichette, you're signing him for his bat. That's what stands out. That's what's, his go-to bread and butter. And that's what we've seen from him this season. So I think it just gets a little bit interesting because, like, the Jays are going to give him a qualifying offer. Like, that's just a given. And we've seen teams get a little bit uncomfortable with the qualifying offer in previous off seasons, right? Like, just with, draft picks being attached to it and compensation towards the international free agency, depending on teams. Like, it's not as easy just to be like, oh yeah, we're going to sign all these guys and worry about it later. Like, no, these teams we've seen in the drafts, they make more calculated decisions. They're not drafting the best available player. They're drafting a guy further down, signing him out. Like, there's so much business and math behind it that something as small as a qualifying offer to Bichette could maybe change one or two things at the end of the day, depending on the team that are interested, right? Like, if the Mets come in and, I know it's hypothetical because of who they have, but if, like, the Mets come in and give them a huge contract, like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day if someone's going to overpay for them versus if the Blue Jays do it, right? So I think, again, it just boils down to, if the Jays can put a strong finish here to the World Series and Bichette wants to keep doing that with Guerrero and the money works, then why change the scenery, right? Like, I think that boils down to it too. But at the end of the day, he deserves to get paid what he thinks he gets paid, and it's just a wait and see at this point. And I think trying to get any answers out of him from now until the end of the World Series is going to be pretty next to none. So
yeah, no, very true. What do you see happens in these? What do you think happens in these three games? Jay's going to find a way to at least win one and bring it back to Toronto.
Yeah, I think the Jays definitely got one win in them. I think the game to win is definitely today. Just because Glasnow's record against the Jays hasn't been as strong, even though he's doing well this postseason, like, historically he hasn't done well against them. And then, next day, Shohei Ohtani, you never know how that's going to go with just how special of a player he is. And then you look towards the final game there, and it could just be a crapshoot. I think if the Jays lose tonight, things can get pretty squirrely over the next few days. So it's better just to put this win in your back pocket and kind of go into the next game with Dodger Stadium with that momentum to win a couple more, versus if you had to kind of come out of that hole versus like when they did with the Dodgers and had to, the Mariners, and had to fight their way back in.
Yeah, well, they definitely, you don't necessarily want to do that. So, hey, a win tonight can change a lot. Pivotal game 3 in every best of 7 series. Game 3 can play a massive part in it. So we'll look forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us, Tyson. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tyson Shishkowicz joins us from Blue Jays Nation, of course, take on the Dodgers tonight. Right after the conclusion of our show, they will get to the game first pitch around 6:08 Edmonton time. We got the 2-minute warning. We also got 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Andy Petrillo is going to join us. Also, the GM of the Utah Mammoth, Bill Armstrong, will be joining us in the 4 o'clock hour. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Are you looking for an affordable business, group, or team outing this season? Why not catch the excitement of a game with the 5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints? With extremely affordable group and suite packages available and some of the lowest food and drink prices around, Saints games are the perfect night for your next group event. Get your group in on the action. For more information, visit sgsaints.ca.
Buddy, quit rolling up to the bar and looking like it's grade 9 grad and you're wearing your dad's old work suit. Do yourself a favor and call Game Day Suits.
Game Day Suits is Alberta-based and makes fully customizable made-to-order suits. Perfect for hockey teams, wedding parties, or even the office crew. Book your free consultation at GameDaySuits.ca.
I'm rocking one right now. I look deadly.
You know they can't see you, right?
Okay, Mr. Announcer, you want to go, tough guy?
Game Day Suits!
When it comes to choosing a hair clinic, the difference is in the doctor.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. Transforming how you feel about yourself is a very personal experience, and I'll work directly with you every step of the way.
Physicians come from all over the world to learn from Dr. Elliott.
When your personal goal is to help other people achieve theirs, you must deeply understand the latest treatments.
Want to feel confident and comfortable? The difference is in the doctor.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott at drvanceelliott.com.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Strudley. How would you like to join me and the superstars of hockey on an exotic holiday? Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from Los Angeles and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters, you can attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Fernando Pisani, Kelly Buckberger, Ron Lowe, Gene Principe, Jack Michaels, Louis DeBrusque, and more. There's still time to get in on every hockey fan's dream cruise. Book now and save $500 per couple. The Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. Price start at just $23.99. Part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
Visit cast.tours/Edmonton. Call 1-833-347-7678. Call now to book and save $500 per cabin when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. That's cast.tours, 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Enjoy a taste of Hawaii with Papa John's Aloha Trio. Try the classic Hawaiian, Super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken pizzas for only $19.99 each at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$3:45. Welcome back. Sports 1440. Sports1440.ca. OilersNation YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Sports 1440 YouTube. Check it out today. Really appreciate it. Got a lot of shorts. Other things there as well. You can rewatch the shows and lots of fun clips. Enjoy it. Get in the chat room with Cons and Declan as well. I got a lot of texts to get to, and then we'll get to the 2-minute warning, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, I know it never gets discussed, but whatever injury McDavid sustained seems to be hampering his shooting ability a lot. Prior to this, he was shooting harder and harder each year and able to beat goalies with wrist shot at distance. That doesn't seem to stop because he wants to pass more. Throwing 2 long cup runs and a couple of weddings, I think the injury is not fully healed from Raj in Calgary. Well, the great part about it is I can go to NHL.com, and in 2023, well, the 22-23 season, his hardest shot was 88.8 miles per hour. The year before, it was in 22, it was 88.17. In 2024, it was 87.05. And in 2025, it was back up to 88. So I'd have to look. Was there multiple? Let me go to 83. And you know what? He had a few more shots that were above 85s. He had 4 shots above 85 miles an hour in 2023, and last year he had 2. So I don't know, but then he had 2 that were 84.61 and 84.29. So I don't know. I like McDavid's skating this year is faster than it's been in the last few years. So and your core muscles have a big impact in your skating as well. So I don't, that injury to his core muscle a few years ago, like Connor McDavid is coming in the slot area and he's just not shooting. I don't think it would be because he feels discomfort in it. I'd be surprised. He wouldn't be taking the face-offs he's killing penalties. He's doing lots of other stuff. He's just choosing not to shoot. The 2023 season was his outlier season. That's the only year he's ever scored more than 50 goals. And even if you look at the 3 years he scored 40 goals, his shots per game were anywhere from 3.07 up to 3.94. It differed. He's never been a big high volume shooter other than one season of his career. So I would argue that the 23 season when he scored 64 goals, that's the outlier. He's just not going to be a high volume shooter. Now, he shouldn't be as low as he is right now at 2.8. Probably more of like a 3.3 to 3.5 guy, realistically. Would we all like him to shoot more? 100%. But it's hard for him to change just his natural, what he does. And it's not like it's hurting him, right? He's been pretty good in the playoffs the last few years, pretty good in the regular season. But, and keep in mind that the last 2, so in 2024, and I say 24 because this season I use as 26. When the season ends, it's 26 season. So, the 24 season, McDavid had 10 points in the first 10 games. Not great. He then had 122 points in the next 66 games. Right? Like he can heat up. Slow starts last year again, 10 points in 10 games. This season, well, he only has 1 goal. So that is, and 1 year he only had 2, the other year he had 3. So it's not like he was scoring a ton. But this year he has 12 points in 10 games. So he's actually higher, slightly. He's just not shooting where you'd like. Could it change in a snap of a finger? Probably. But I don't believe it's due to injury. So that's where I would go. Hey, Greg, the best player in the world doesn't have 34 goals in the last 100 games, especially when you don't win the Art Ross from Dusty. So are you saying that McDavid isn't the best player in the world? Who is then? Who's better? All right? It's a fair question. If you want to say he isn't, I will listen. Who's better? That's my question. If I was going to make an argument on who is better, the guy who I might argue is better might be one of his teammates. But if you look at now, points per game over the last 2 seasons and the start of this year, highest points per game is Kucherov at 1.64. McDavid's 1.59. McKinnon is 1.58. It is a fair thing to point out that amongst the top 5 guys in points, McDavid has the fewest goals by quite a bit, by like 30 less than Nathan McKinnon. Now, he has played 18 fewer games, but he ain't going to score that much more. Let's be honest. Right? Draisaitl has 100 goals in that time. Pasternak, 95. McKinnon, 90. Kucherov, 84. McDavid, 59. So, but then you go from that, and then you look at playoffs, and I'll just go points per game in the playoffs. McDavid's a 0.16. Draisaitl's a 0.136. You got to find the other guys that are McKinnon's at 0.139. Kucherov, he's at 0.110. So, the last few regular seasons haven't been as productive as you would like. I think that's valid. And I think McDavid at some point has to look at himself and be like, hey, I got to shoot the puck more. But you know what? Why doesn't he shoot it? It's a great question. Honestly. It's a really good question. Why aren't you doing it? But, when you look at the amount of of shots that are hard. Like, this season, he doesn't have a shot in the 80s, funny enough. So maybe he is still hurt. But it's also, I got to go back and I'm looking at the last season when he had shots in the 80s. Some of them were March, February, December. None of them came in October either last season. So is it just is that part of being a slow starter? He's not firing bombs early in the season. Last year, his 80-mile-an-hour shots, he did have one in October, but that's it. So I don't know. It's worthy of a question, though. We'll have to ask him. So I think I want to go back to the year he scored 64 goals, and I'm looking at the 80, and he had 3 that year at 80 miles an hour. So all I know is you don't have to be the hardest shooter to pick a corner. Like Jordan Eberle, I think is a great example. I'm going to look up Eberle's hardest shot. And he's never been a guy who's going to overpower you with velocity, but he's pretty darn accurate. Like, look at that. Look at his second goal when he came down and just put it right far side. Yeah, his hardest shot this year has 78 miles an hour. And he actually, this year only has 4 in the 70s. I'm going to look back to last year. He had 6 in the 70s, just in the 70s. 2023, he had, he did actually crack the 80s twice that year. Now, I have to look to see, are any of those one-timers? Although I'm not sure Eberle's ever taken a one-timer. But there's an example of a guy who's never really overpowered you with an 80-mile-an-hour shot, right? He only had 2 of them in 2024 and none in 2025. In 2023, he had 3. So never been an overpowering shooter. Bouchard, on the other hand, that guy fires bombs all the time, but different player, right? McDavid, is he not shooting because he's banged up, or is he just like, I look at, because last game I actually saw him come down the wing and he loaded up and ripped it. And I didn't see him wince. So I wonder how much, is it mental or physical? It's a fair question. Gregor, what's Draisaitl? What does he shoot? He doesn't seem to hit the 80s very often. He has 2 shots this year that are in the 80s. Last season he had looks like he had 11. In 2024, he had it looked like he had more actually. He had 11 over 83 miles an hour. So, and then his top one that I've noticed is he had an 88 mile an hour a few years ago. Actually hit 90 miles an hour back in 22. So there's the thing. So Draisaitl in 2022, his top end shot was 91.1. Last year, his top end shot was 87.4. But he scored basically the same amount of goals by dipping 4 miles per hour. So, now we're talking 1 or 2 shots. It's your hardest one. Do you hit one right on the screws? Draisaitl does take a lot of one-timers, so, there's probably something to it. But in 2022, when he scored 55, then he scored 52, then he scored 52 again, and he's got 7 in the first 10. So velocity is one aspect of it. I don't know if that's why McDavid isn't scoring. I'd be a little surprised. I just think it comes down to his unwillingness to want to shoot, for sure. Hey, Gregor, McDavid's the most game plan player against by anybody in the league. Of course, it's going to get harder. He's so dangerous on the ice. Teams just don't allow him time and space anymore. From Drew. Yeah, that's part of it. But look at how many times we have seen just this year in the first 10 games, because I've got 5 clips of McDavid coming through the slot with time and space, not shooting. Looking off. And you're just kind of like, what? So to me, that is, and I talked to him about it on Friday, and he said, you know what? Like, it's not natural for me. The year he scored 64, that's the outlier. It really is. It's the outlier of his career. I don't think we're ever going to see him shoot that much. You'll be frustrated he doesn't, and that's valid. But that's the only year of his career he was ever above 3.9. And he's only ever been above 3.5 2 other times. One year he scored 44 goals and he shot 3.07 shots per game. He's just not a high-volume shooter. I don't think it's going to change. Let's get to the 2-minute warning now with Cam Tait, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. That's how you build a legacy. No overtime charges tonight or on the weekends. Your furnace conks out, they'll help you. LegacyHeating.ca.
Now listen up, because this one needs to land squarely between the goalposts of your attention. The Edmonton Elks, yes, those same green and gold warriors of hope and heartbreak, needed to miss the playoffs. You heard right, needed to. And in their own paradoxical way, they succeeded by failing. Or, if you prefer, they failed magnificently by succeeding. Missing the playoffs will only increase the hunger to make the postseason next year. Because this season wasn't about the parade route. No, sir. It was about the pilgrimage. They stumbled, yes, but they stood taller for it. Mid-season, the Elks found their spine. 2 wins in a row, competitive games, stands no longer silent but singing again. The sound of hope, cautious, cracked, but there. And then, Justin Rankin galloped into the frame. A Prairie freight train on cleats, over 1,000 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns, 667 through the air, and 12 bursts past 20 yards. That 90-yard Labor Day stampede against Calgary? Mercy. That wasn't football. That was theater. Rankin didn't run. He ripped daylight in half. But what makes the Elks matter goes beyond the gridiron. A brunch before the Labor Day rematch that raised spirits as much as funds. Commonwealth's gates swung open for high school kids when teachers struck. Small act, massive echo. That's community in motion. That's sport as sermon. Of course, shadows fell. The Trayford question still hangs. Unsettling, uncertain. And the passing of owner Larry Thompson carved a quiet ache through the season. But somewhere above that wide Alberta sky, I suspect he's looking down, smiling, saying, they're getting there. Because sometimes, friends, victory doesn't live on the scoreboard. It lives in the soil, where seeds of something sturdier are taking root. And that's why, yes, whisper it proudly, the Edmonton Elks were a success. 2-minute warning. Gregor, Halley, Kruger. Did he nod off? Not again. Tait. Weekdays, sports, 1440.
It's always a little chirp on deck. It's becoming a tradition. I kind of like it, Cons. It's I don't know if the 2 minutes complete without that at the end.
I don't know whose relationship I like more, Tait with young Josh or Tait with Declan, but both fun for us.
Yeah. Speaking of Rankin, man, that was unlucky. What did you make of that play though, and the fact that like the Elks guy just kind of stood around?
I mean, they heard the whistle, right?
Yeah.
So you played with the whistle, you hear the whistle, you're assuming, okay, I think we're done here. Usually in football, I feel like you do see one of the offensive linemen still like keep on going because they just want to get that extra hit in. But I mean, I guess it's hard for me to fault them. They heard the whistle, assumed it was dead, and nope.
Yeah, that was definitely an odd situation. Unfortunate for Rankin. He's had a fantastic year, no question, and locked up for a few more seasons for the green and gold, which is huge for them. I think they got some other guys that would like to lock up here. I think we're gonna have Ed Hervey on the show this week, but I'm guessing he's got a few priority guys. Him and Chris Morris talked about it when they took over at the start of the season. They wanted to build some continuity on this team, and that's something that they're going to look at. So we'll probably have maybe tomorrow on the show. I think we're going to tomorrow or Wednesday, we might break down kind of like who are some guys that we obviously should bring back. You, me, and Declan will get into that on Wednesday's show, I think. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with Sports 1440 update with the comment brought to you by Fountain Tire. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. You need winter tires. Stay safe. 15% off all winter tires right now at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game 3 tonight, World Series goes from Los Angeles with the Jays and Dodgers meeting one game apiece. First fixtures after 6. Max Scherzer, Tyler Glasnow get this start. We'll have it for you here on Sports 1440 radio feed. Only 2 games on the ice tonight in the NHL. Blues taking on the Penguins at 5. Then at 5:30, Bruins up against Ottawa. Oilers will be in action tomorrow, taking on Utah. Week 8 of the NFL season wraps up tonight with the Commanders heading to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. That gets going just after 6:15. And bad news for the Bills. The test confirmed the defensive tackle Ed Oliver has torn biceps. He's going to be out indefinitely, while Rams placing wide receiver Tutu Atwell in the IR, meaning he'll miss at least the next 4 weeks. And in the association, Toronto Raptors in action. They'll take on Wemby and the Spurs. Tip-off just after 6 o'clock. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Andy Petrillo from CBC Sports and Amazon. Plus, we'll also hear from the GM of the Utah Mammoth, Bill Armstrong. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Monopoly Double Play is back at McDonald's. So let's practice winning.
Just after
You
3
just won 25 grand. And go.
Yes!
I said 25 grand.
That's what I'm talking about! Yeah!
Much better. Okay, now you just won a brand new Chevrolet Corvette. I think she just fainted. Impressive. Feel like a winner on pack and in-app. Monopoly Double Play is back. While supplies last, 1 in 5 chances to win game piece prizes at outset. Chances to win draw prizes depend on number of entries in each draw. Cash prizes payable by e-transfer. See rules in-app.
You've probably heard the term supply and demand. Something is needed and someone supplies it. We're GS Construction, and we're in the supply and demand business with you. Edmonton and the surrounding
Swung
area
open for
continue
high
to grow. Infrastructure has to be continually replaced and upgraded to keep up with demand. You see it with new buildings and new roads, but what about below ground, where all sorts of pipes bring you water and take wastewater away? That's where we come in. For more on what we do, go to gsconstruction.ca.
Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440. After every game this season, tune in to Andrew Walker for the post-game show. Let's talk some hockey. Let's talk about the game on Sports 1440.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you. Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
Hey there, this is your wake-up call. It's time to change to your winter tires. Unless you want to be sliding and swerving around icy roads like you're some kind of dummy. Head to Big Toy Shop and get it done right for a great price. We won't lie to you, inflate your bill, or waste your time. Time to change your tires. Big Toy Shop, 8315 Argyle Road. 780-298-2797.
Prostate cancer affects 1 in 6 men in Alberta, and this November we're fighting back. Every dollar raised fuels early detection and life-saving support. Donate today for the men in our province. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your fundraiser or donate today.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 15% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until December 13th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles. Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Four o'clock. Lovely Monday. Oh, let's be honest, a little rainy. I don't know if it ever got to snow. Felt like it was close, trying to tease us with some of the white stuff, but never happened. After such a dry late fall, it wasn't a bad thing to get a little bit of moisture. At least I think so. But the snow will be coming. And if you're a big believer in the Farmer's Almanac, we should get a lot of snow this year. So see if it comes to fruition. Now they don't live in the farm. I don't follow the Farmer's Almanac as much as I used to, but it's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. Like anything, it's not 100%, but it's always kind of strange how much more accurate it is than I would think it should be. Imagine if you could find like the Sporting Almanac. God, that'd be unreal. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50. You make a $50 deposit. Use the code Gregor50, and they'll match it. So you'll get an extra $50. Maybe you want to put it on the Jays tonight. We'll see. Game 3 coming up later right here on Sports 1440. At the conclusion of our show, first pitch will be around 6:08 tonight from Los Angeles. As it's time now for our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rise Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that will safely take you or your group to your next destination. You want a party bus? You want a team bus? They got it all. SilentRides.ca. And we welcome back to the show. Good friend of the show. Also now, hey, we have introductions, but now we got to include author on the introduction. Of course, radio host, TV host, and now author Andy Petrillo joins us. Andy, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Oh my goodness, it's going to take some time getting used to hearing author, but yeah, I've been working on that for a couple of years. I'm great. Sorry if you hear a goal horn go off at any moment. They're just like testing all the stuff here inside the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, but this is where I am tonight, getting ready for a little bit of hockey, a little Sens Bruins.
Awesome. We'll get to the Sens and Bruins first, but I want to talk about the book, Just Call Me Andy, Sports Stories from a Trailblazer. It was just released 6 days ago. And, it's kind of like a memoir of your career, because you definitely were a Trailblazer, the first woman to host a daily sports radio talk show in Canada. And then, of course, have gone on. You won a Canadian Screen Score Award for Best Sports Host. And obviously, you're in Ottawa right now. You're doing tons of NHL stuff. But the road, let's say, Andy, wasn't always that smooth for a young Andy Petrillo, I would think, trying to break into this sporting world.
No, and I mean, what I try to do is I share a lot of positivity in the book. I share stories of some incredible people who have been there and continue to be there for me, both on-air hosts and producers and things like that. But I did choose a lot of topics. So the book itself is not really linear. It's more like these little essays or these kind of like diary entries, if you choose to call it that. And how I came about choosing what topics I wanted to really focus on was I thought, when I do speaking engagements, what do young aspiring broadcasters ask me the most about? So I tried to take those topics, which they ask me a lot about, how to handle social media, especially as a woman, right down to clothing. What to wear on air causes women a lot of stress as well. So I tried to, people ask me, have producers asked you to do certain things that they would never have asked your male counterparts strictly because you're a woman? And I'm like, actually, yeah. So I tried to share those stories that I felt women were finding the most interesting, or that they wanted to have answers to. And then after I share those stories, I tried to also then share pearls of wisdom. Like, what did that teach me? And how can we move on from it? And in some cases, how can we make sure it never happens again? So I feel like there is a good balance in the book, though, of sharing all the wonderful allies that I've had in this industry. But most definitely, you got to talk about some of the crap that you dealt with, because, the more you talk about it, the more hopefully you can eliminate it.
When you look back on your career, I'm a big believer that, somebody's got to crack the door open, then it's up for you to kick it open or not. But somebody's still got to give you a chance. If you look back at your career, was there one person or a moment that you felt like that somebody opened the door a bit and then Andy stormed through it?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I give credit to anybody who's hired me. I'm always very appreciative. But one in particular, now that you say it that way, I would say at the time the executive producer of Hockey Night in Canada was a guy by the name of Trevor Pilling. And a story I also share in the book is, while I was still with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment working at Leafs TV, Cassie Campbell had gone on mat leave, and there were 10 Montreal Canadiens games that he wanted me to do rinkside for. And MLSE wouldn't release me, which some people might think, well, of course not. If you work for one, why would they release you to go work for Hockey Night? But the thing is other people were doing it. Like, Harry Neal, as we know, would also work on MLS East stuff, but then go to hockey night. Paul Hendrick would work at Leafs TV, but then would do ringside for Sportsnet. So the precedent had been set. So when I went and asked, they had said, no, I couldn't do it. And I just remember being so bummed out and depressed about that. But then I'll give Trevor Pilling credit. The next year, he came to me again and said, all right, instead of like 10 games, I want to actually hire you full time. So he remained a really big fan of mine. And, you know, he just remained in my corner, and somebody who was like, all right, it didn't work out last year, but I'm not going to give up on you. Now I actually have a position that I can give you. And it was because of him that I entered Hockey Night in Canada and was able to work on the biggest hockey show in this country. So yeah, I guess he was the one that kind of kept faith and didn't give up, even though the year before he wasn't able to get me to come work with him.
Annie Petrillo joins. Annie, you did a lot of TV, then you went to host radio, and radio is very different than hosting on TV for a lot of people. What did you find was the biggest learning curve to host your own talk show?
Well, first of all, you're not BSing anybody when it comes to your knowledge. And I'm gonna say it. I don't care what host is gonna get angry at me, because I say this as a host. Hosts have to be knowledgeable, but nowhere near as knowledgeable on TV than you need to be on radio. Because on TV, it's very scripted. And I throw to my analyst, and they do all the analyzing, and I throw to break, or I throw to a feature, or I welcome back from break. Like you're very much like the mediator there, right? You're just the go-between, and you're linking things. But in radio, you're the host and analyst and the reporter and the insider. You know, you've got, and you're giving your opinion on everything, right? So there's no BS in any BSers when you're doing radio. And I learned that, like, okay, wow, right? Like, because the conversation can go any which way, especially when you're on a show with Craig Button. Love Craig Button, but my goodness, I'm like, okay, Craig, here are the topics we're going to talk about. And then within 30 seconds, he brings up a story from like, you know, the early 90s, and your brain's going, okay. And then you got to like keep up with him, right? So that was really fun. And another thing that's kind of funny is everything in TV is very timed. Like you have 90 seconds here. So the first time I ever did radio, I was still filling in. And I went in and filled in with, for Brian Hayes. He had gone on paternity leave. Yeah. So I had Noodles, I had Jamie McLennan, and I had Jeff O'Neill. And I welcomed everyone to the show. And I literally did it within 15 seconds, like a proper TV host. And I threw to them, and they both looked at me and went, slow down. They're like, we've got 3 hours of this. You need to slow down. So I was like, okay, we got time.
Yeah. You definitely have to add in a little bit more filler that time, for sure. When you broke in compared to now, what's the biggest change you've seen in media from all vantage points? Because obviously, you have background in radio. Now there's obviously TV. Now there's obviously social media, podcasts, and everything. What do you feel has been the biggest change that you've experienced?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, obviously, as a woman, I'm not the only woman in the room anymore when I walk into a locker room or dressing room, which is nice. So, and they're not just women who are reporters. Like now, a lot of the PR people I deal with are women. So I'm not the only woman in the room anymore. There were times where I would walk into a locker room after morning skate and the whole room would go quiet because the guys would just be shocked that a woman walked into the room. That's not the case anymore. They're used to that. Another thing that I noticed, and if you're going to allow me a moment to just like gripe about something, is I found back in the day more so guys would hang out in their stalls, whether it was after morning skate or whether it was after practice. And you could go do your interview, whatever you need to do. Certain guys would have scrums around them, fine. But then you could just go and sit and shoot the breeze with guys.
Yes.
And like that's oftentimes how you even learned about the chemistry or what's going on with the team. You're just shooting the breeze. You're developing a relationship, a rapport. And because of that, you also develop trust with the player. Now I walk into rooms, man, I have never seen guys change out of their gear so quickly in my life. They are in, they are out. And if you want them, you have to put the request in through PR. And then it's always a massive scrum and you're never really getting that proper one-on-one. And I'm like, listen, I don't want to interview Austin Matthews today, but maybe I want to sit and just shoot the breeze about life and get to know him. Like, I don't want to come here and maybe interview Shane Pinto, but maybe I just want to figure out who is Shane Pinto, like that. And that's what you got from sitting in the stalls and just being able to do it. But these guys, man, they change, they get out, and then PR puts like gatekeeping up, like who do you need to talk? And yeah, so it's not as I don't know. There's not as much camaraderie, which I think is a bit of a lost art in this industry now.
Yeah, that's very well said. The book, of course, it's been out for almost a week. Give me your thoughts on early feedback.
Well, it's really meant a lot to me that so a lot of women have reached out who aren't even necessarily in sports, and they're like, sports may have been your background, but what the stories you share can affect all women who are just professionals and are in industries where they're still very, considered tough and male dominated. So I like the fact that my book, at least from what I've been hearing from a lot of other professional women, seems to transcend sport in that sense. So that actually, really means a lot to me. And at the end of the day, a lot of women in the industry have come up to me and said, "You've motivated me to write a book." And that means a lot, because when the literary agent reached out to me, I'm like, so we know in the States, women in the States have written books, but no Canadian female sportscaster has written a book yet. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. I'll take the egg on my face if it ends up being a flop. But the fact that I did it, and other women in this country now are saying, "You've now motivated me to do that," that right there it's worth it.
How long did it take you to write the book?
Oh my goodness, I learned this. This is quite the process. I started writing it in January of 2023. And it took me a year and a half. And then it took like a year and a half of editing.
Really?
So it is a process. Yeah. It is quite the process. The editing process was like, whew, this is intense.
Yeah.
But it took so what, 20, I can't do math here. What, 2.5, what is that, 2.5 years?
Yeah. Well, you're saying about 18 months to write it. And, you're writing parts of it, and, you're going through your memory bank, and then are you like they have to double check, everybody to make sure, okay, like this is the date and this is who it was. Cause sometimes, hey, I thought it was Tuesday the 8th, but it was actually Tuesday the 15th. You know what I mean? Like it's still a Tuesday. You got to go through all that process.
Yeah. I had to make sure that some of the stories that I was sharing, I'm like, does my memory recall? Okay. So you want to make sure they vet it. And then there's also just like, I think sometimes I took for granted that people knew what I was talking about. And so the editor, which was great, that's like, hey, maybe somebody doesn't understand that reference. Maybe that's a little too inside hockey. Okay. Can you just explain it a little bit more? So I had to do a little bit more explaining. So people who are just casual sports fans can still understand and relate to my books. Because sometimes I got a little too inside. And anyone who follows the sports that I was talking about, be it soccer, be it hockey, they would know exactly what I meant. So there were things like that where I just had to do a little bit more explaining that I hadn't been doing before, because I just took for granted everyone knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, no, that would make sense. Annie Petrella joins us. Her book you can get online or in stores right now. Just Call Me Andy. It's sports stories from a Trailblazer. It's only been out for a week, so there's lots of copies for you. To get Andy, we'll get you to put on your analyst hat for a sec. Of course, you mentioned you got Ottawa and Boston. The Ottawa Senators, of course, without Brady Tkachuk, it hasn't necessarily been the start that they would want. And the Boston are kind of two similar teams here with goalies who didn't get off to a great start, but their numbers seem to be coming around. What do you make of tonight? And, how different are the Senators sans Tkachuk?
Well, they're in a very good mood. This morning, it was funny in the room. There are a ton of media, and, Linus Ullmark, who's getting the night off. He's not even the backup in this one. They called, a player up. I think the Hunters, who they called up from the AHL. He walks into the room and he goes, "Oh, look what happens when you win 2 games in a row. Suddenly the media wants to come around, right?" And then even Travis Green popped his head into the room because his coaching or his coach's press conference was delayed and he didn't know why. So he comes on and he goes, "Oh, this explains why it's delayed. The media's still in here." And I'm like, this is what happens when you win. So they're actually in a really good mood right now. They feel like they have figured things out a little bit without Brady Tkachuk. They're all saying the same thing, which I don't think they're lying, right? They're like, you don't replace a guy like that, but you just figure out how to play around him. And the key there, I think, is defensively for Ottawa. The last 2 wins that they pulled off, in each of those games, they've only allowed 1 goal against. And then even with the Washington Capitals, they only allowed 13 shots because in the previous 7 games, they had allowed 3 or more goals. Very leaky defensively, goaltending wasn't what it was. And then on Boston, the flip side, it's kind of the same thing. There's this crazy stat where in their last 10 games, 7 times they've allowed the opponent to score within 3 minutes of the Bruins scoring. So it's like they don't know how to buckle down defensively after they score a goal. They get all excited, yay, we scored. And then I'm like, hello, the next shift is the most critical shift. And then they allow a goal. So these are two teams that have been leaky defensively. But, the Bruins feeling a little bit better about themselves because they broke that 6-game losing streak, and the Sens feeling good. So we'll see which team the party will continue for tonight.
Well, the key, usually when we go into this game, we'd be talking about David Pastrnak, the best scorer in the game. But right now is Shane Pinto. The guy's on fire, got 8 goals already this season.
Yeah, and he is in a fantastic mood. He is loved around here. I had a chance to actually talk to him this morning. We didn't talk really any hockey. I talked about the fact that he's like this incredible golfer, by the way. I did give him a little bit of heck because he's going for the Dodgers. He's not going for the Jays. So I said, you might want to be a little bit careful, especially since you also play in the Canadian market. But he's just found his groove. And this is somebody who a few years ago had no problem holding out in a contract dispute.
Yep.
So the fact that he's once again, not signed, it's rumored, right, that Ottawa offered the 8 years, like, nothing affects this guy. It's like, been there, done that. I have no problem waiting, cool as a cucumber. But at the end of the day, he's scoring. He's still on that third line. Like, he's still the third line center. So the fact that they're getting that depth scoring, but that's the thing. That's not the problem with the Sens, right? It's been defensively. But that room, man, it's a great room. It doesn't hurt that you've won your last 2. But Shane Pinto is definitely stepped up in the absence of Brady Tkachuk.
No doubt. Well, Andy, congratulations on a long project. It's always nice to see something come to fruition. So best of luck. I look forward to reading it, and we'll talk again soon.
Appreciate having me on, Jason. Nice to see you.
You too. That's Andy Petrillo, of course, long-time broadcaster, and just released her first book, Just Call Me Andy, sports stories from a trailblazer that you can get it, of course, wherever you buy your books, Amazon, Chapters, you name it. We'll take a quick break. We'll return with the GM of the Utah Mammoth on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm tired of waking up tired. Are you tired of waking up tired? Come visit our sleep experts at the Brick Mattress Store. Get Canada's guaranteed lowest prices on all things sleep. Plus, try your new mattress for 6 months. If you don't love it, we'll find one you do. Some conditions apply. Stop waking up tired. Get the right mattress, guaranteed. Only at the Brick Mattress Store.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text CHECK to 780-777-7777. That's CHECK to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 15% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until December 13th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
425, welcome back. It is, of course, game day on Sports 1440. We'll have the Jays-Dodgers game right at the conclusion of our show. First pitch will be 6:08 tonight, pivotal game 3 of the World Series. And you will have Mad Max Scherzer on the mound tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays. This is his 4th team he's pitched for in the World Series. Unreal. And the fireballer Glasnow, who has a 18 Ks and a 0.68 ERA, going on the mound tonight for the LA Dodgers. Tomorrow, of course, the Edmonton Oilers hosting the hottest team in the Western Conference. Winners of 7 in a row. The Utah Mammoth are on fire. And the gentleman who built that team is going to join us right now as we go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, where they're 53 years in business. They continue to grow, and they are hiring 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year electricians. If you want a spark in your new career, apply today. Careers at actionelectrical.net. Bill Armstrong, it's his 2nd year as GM of the Utah Mammoth organization, but he's been the GM of the group since 2020. Bill, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing today?
I'm great. It's such a unique thing when we talk about the Utah Mammoth. And by the way, my son did want to say, I don't know if you had any say into it, but he's a huge fan of the new mascot. Huge fan of the new mascot. He actually pointed out to me before I'd even seen it. So that's when you know it's a good mascot, when the kids are all over it. But did you have any voting say, Bill, in the mascot?
Absolutely none. I stay in my lane.
Okay.
I'm strictly hockey.
Okay.
That's what I do. I strictly do hockey. I encourage all the people that work in hockey ops to stay in hockey. But Brian Smith and Ashley Smith and SEG have a very creative staff, and they do an incredible job, not only from the logo to the name, and also to the mascot. They've knocked it out of the park. So we're fortunate to work with those guys, and they do an amazing job.
Bill, it's 2nd year with the Utah organization. You guys became your own organization, but a lot of your hard work of building this roster came, previously with Arizona. And man, I look at your top 6 and oh my goodness, you're probably sitting there, hey, this is what we were hoping when we got some of these guys. Cause we can start, hey, Nick Schmaltz has been there a long time and Clayton Keller's a veteran, but then you throw in Logan Cooley at that natural hat trick. He's looked unreal. You acquired JJ Peterka in a very good trade. Like, when you're building a team, it never happens as quick as anyone would like, I would think, is probably the thing you've learned the most as a GM. But can you sit back and at least take a moment to enjoy, to say, hey, the pieces are coming together here a little bit more?
Not one moment. No, there's no time you just go, oh, it feels so good. No, there's none of that. It's, you're just constantly trying to get your team better and better. And it's an ongoing process. Every morning you wake up trying to improve the team. The only thing that someone sent me a roster about, I think it was my first year there to where we are now. And I'm like, okay, we have come a long way when you look back. Now there's a team that, it resembles a team that could take a step, and there's some good pieces in there to help you win a championship. So we're very confident about, our team. I love the fact that we're young, we're hungry, and we're playing to get in the playoffs. So it's definitely a good feeling in that way.
When you see as many players as you have off to a good start for your group, like your top 6 guys, especially 5 of them, Schmaltz is tied for the league for goodness sakes. Keller's got 12 points. Gunther, Cooley each have 11. Peterka's got 9. What is it about that group that impresses you most on the offensive side?
Well, we're fast. You're going to see a group led by Logan Cooley through the middle of the ice, JJ Peterka and Dylan Gunther, and they might be the fastest line in the National Hockey League together. They can absolutely fly, and they push the pace. And when they're on, they almost create a scoring chance off every rush. So they're unique in that factor. I think that when I look out onto the ice on our group, the other day I look out and, Gunner, is 22, Cooley's 21, Peterka's 23, Simashev's 20, and our old guy is Sergachev, 27. So I like the youth, but they're talented young players, and they want to make a difference. They came in to this season with one goal in mind, is that play every game like it's game 7, and we've done that so far.
You talk about the speed of that line, and then you've got Schmaltz and Keller with Barrett Hayton, and Schmaltz and Keller are killing it right now. As a GM, obviously you want to see guys have success, and we're looking at it, Bill, and a lot of teams have been able, for the most part, to maintain their top end productive guys. When does serious conversations go on with a guy like Nick Schmaltz, who's a pending UFA? Does it change from player to player, and some guys want to talk about it during the year, others don't? How does it work now that the season started?
Well, it's also a process of us, as an organization trying to get into the playoffs. That's the big thing. We want our guys to be able to lead us in there. And, I think sometimes you don't talk to players about contracts. Other guys you can. It's different all the time. But for us, right now as we go, we want to see our, that group drive us into the playoffs, and then we can talk contracts with certain guys. And I think that's a big thing for us, to make sure that we push the pace and find a way to get in. And I think when certain guys that are contracts are up can lead us there, it's then time to have those conversations.
You mentioned speed down the middle. You also, I look at your third and fourth line centers. You got Jack McBain, and I know the points aren't there yet, but I'm a big fan of how he plays the game. Then you got Kevin Stenlin, who won a Stanley Cup in Florida, playing a ton of minutes for you on the penalty kill, 5-on-5. Bill, you're a pretty big man yourself. How important is it when you look at certain, like building your team to have different dimensions? You got some skill guys who are maybe a little bit small at time, but you've got size up and down your lineup. How important is that, do you think, to win?
Well, it's a combination of having some size in some areas, and you have to have that, and we were fortunate to draft Maverick Lamoureux and Dmitry Simashev, 6'5", 6'7", but they can also move. They're good skaters. So, I think you got to have some size in there. Daniel Boots, another guy that's in the minors for us, that's a first rounder. He's like 6'8". So there's a combination where you can have players, that are 6 foot, around there, and also have some bigger guys. We're fortunate to have some pretty big guys that can move. And that's the new NHL. And especially in the backside, I think you got to have some size, some size and durability to get through, not only the season, but into the playoffs. And, when I was with St. Louis, we had some big guys back there, the Prekos and the Bouwmeesters of the world and the Robert Bortuzos. They were monsters, and the Joel Edmondsons. You need some size to get through there. So it's important to have some trees back there. You also got to have some guys that can weave in and out of traffic. So there's a little combination of have some speed and skill, and I think we're slowly accumulating that. I don't think our team's fully built. I'd probably say we're about 60% built, but we're getting there. There's some pieces in there, and those pieces are going to allow us to keep developing. And I still think there's some more young players coming from us, that are still playing in junior, that are still playing in the minors for us, that are going to have huge impacts for this organization over the next 2 to 3 years.
Bill Armstrong joins us, general manager of the Utah Mammoth. They're in town to take on the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow night. Winners of 7 consecutive games of the Mammoth. And, Bill, you come to Utah, and it just, as the GM, I just look at the moves you make, and it feels like you're almost like, okay, now we can compete here. We got an ownership group that's willing to compete with the big boys. And you went out and you landed Sergachev in a big deal. And then you get JJ Peterka. Just from a GM job, it's from the outsiders, it seems like you're able to kind of play to your full potential now with the support of your ownership group. Is that fair?
Well, our ownership, when we moved, they called all the players in, said, we're going to do this, this, and this, and they've done all of it and more. And our players have a huge belief in Ryan Smith and Ashley Smith and what they've been able to accomplish in a small period of time in Utah. And hats off to them. They've been unbelievable owners, and they've allowed us on the hockey upside to go spend some money on the Sergachevs and Peterkas of the world. And, even the Nate Schmitz of the world, and Oli Matas, and firm up our group. So they've allowed us to be a competitive hockey club. And, I think our players respond to that. I know this is going to sound funny. We weren't used to fans. Last year at this time, we couldn't win in the Delta Center.
Yeah.
I think our team, was so over-enthused about being in front of the fan base. That was crazy about us. We over-tried, we got over-frustrated. It boiled over, and we just couldn't. It took us a while to get used to that as a team. And But now I think our guys are super grateful for the elite practice facility that we have. It's crazy. And the Delta Center has been renovated, and with our name and the mascots and everything else, we live in a world with the Utah Mammoth of no excuse hockey. And as a GM, that's all you can ask for. We don't have one excuse. And we stay in the finest hotels and ride the finest planes. And, it's everything is done first class in that organization from top to bottom. And the standards have moved up to a higher standard that we expect from our players also.
Bill, you can't make the playoffs in October, but you can sure make life harder on yourself with a slow start. You guys have got off to a great start. One of the best, well, obviously in brief 2-year history, best start for the Mammoth, but best start in a long time. 8-2, first in the very difficult and competitive Central Division. And because, there's going to be hiccups along the way. Every team has them. The Florida Panthers have won back-to-back cups, so they don't have smooth sailing all the way through the season. But being around as long as you have, and you look at this start and just how much it can set your team up, maybe more mentally than anything else, because you don't necessarily have to be like in chase mode, which at times can be mentally draining.
Yeah, I think a start's important, and there's different ways that you can start. And for us, coming out of the gate and playing well, it's huge. It builds confidence in our guys going into the rink every day, thinking that, hey, we got a chance to win tonight. And that's a huge belief that comes from confidence, and confidence comes from a source. And that source for us early on is winning. And so I love what our team's done early on. They've dug in. The guys have bought into the theory that every game is game 7 and come to play. And so I love what the group's done so far. Like you said, adversity's coming first. We just got to be able to handle the rough storms and get through it. If we can get through it on the other side with our young group and battle through the schedule, we're going to have a chance to get into the playoffs. And it's a tough division. But I do believe, the way that we play and the hunger of our guys right now, we got a chance to get in.
Bill, Andre Tournier, your head coach, seems to be he has a really good reputation of working with young guys. Obviously, he has the respect of your veteran group. What have you liked about him? What do you see and why he's the right guy for your team right now?
Well, when we went and picked him, our belief was that he could get through the rebuild and get us on the other side of that and still be the coach. He's a tremendous communicator. He gets the most out of people. But at the same time, he doesn't leave a scar on the player. And we felt like he could do that. And he's done that. He's lived up to it, and he has the trust of the players on this team, and they back him. And, they continually get better and better as a team, and they buy into what he's selling. And he's been a huge piece from us from the get-go. The moment he stepped on that ice, in the start of the rebuild, he's demanded a high level of work ethic and a high level of commitment to this team. And from the day he's come into the day today, he's demanded it, and he's got it from our players. And it's nice to see the buy-in. Obviously, like I said, adversity's coming for us. So, there's only 72 more games to be played plus playoffs. So there's a long runway still to go, but I like how we've started.
You mentioned Simishev. And he's been playing with Sergachev. You got Nate Schmidt, who was one of your free agent signings from Florida, come in, gives you a veteran guy with Cole and Olimata. But Simishev is definitely your young defenseman. And you need to have that, especially when you're a team that's moving up. But has his play surprised you at just how good he's looked this early?
He's played, obviously for Omska in the KHL, and they won a championship last year, and they went to the finals the year before. So he's got a ton of experience at a high level. He's the best skating big man, D man I've been a part of drafting in my life, and he's a special player. And it's not so much offensively gifted; it's his ability to be 6'5", 230 and move like he can on his coverage. And he's got unique instincts on the D side of the puck, and with the size of him and his ability, he can cover ground. He's hard to beat. You almost got to beat him 3 times, and. I've seen him go up the ice where, he's been playing against Kyrou and the Nate McKinnons of the world, and they couldn't get a step on him. And that's an impressive feat as a young player, and he's going to keep pushing. But he's definitely, when he plays with Sergachev, they're 2 of our best defensive D on the ice, and, they're going to play against the other team's top line every night. So it's going to be a battle for him, but he's a special player for us.
Well, and the other advantage you've had, Bill, this year that you didn't have last year was your defense is pretty healthy. Like last year, guys were decimated by injuries, and it almost. I know you mentioned the crowd earlier, but I would argue that your defense injuries kind of derailed the season before you could really get going.
We struggled last year just in our defensemen just got banged up and it just went down the line. And, we were fortunate to make a trade for Ole Mata and recall Lamoureux and give us a little bit of stability at the time and battle our way back into it. But it took us a while, and so I think this year we built, basically the club with 8 good defensemen. So it's been great. And, you can see that depth paying dividends. And, with the Olympic schedule and us playing, every other night plus back-to-back on the weekends, it takes its toll on your D-men. So it's nice to know that we've got a little bit of depth back there and we can withstand some injuries at times.
Bill Armstrong joins us. Bill, a few more quick ones. I really appreciate your time. You mentioned the Olympics this season. The off season, you guys made a big deal, but there wasn't a lot of free agent movement. Lots of guys ended up going, and a lot of guys now that were supposed to be free agents next summer have already re-signed. In your conversations with GMs, because, there is a lot of available cap space for a lot of teams out there now, more than ever before. Do you get a sense, is this going to be a busier time because of the potential cap space of some teams, or is this one where lots of teams have a lot of their guys signed already, that means we'll see less moves leading up to the deadline?
Well, first of all, it's a great question. And I think every GM wakes up every morning looking at the free agents and trying to figure out whether they're going to sign with their teams. And I just think teams are going to sign their free agents. I don't think there's going to be a lot of guys out there, kind of like last summer. There's a lot of guys that get eaten up early on by their teams. They look what's out there and they say, oh, our guy's better. So that will go on during the course of the year, and you'll see some more free agents sign with their teams. I think that'll be a part of the process. And, it continues to go. Some of the free agents in the world, sometimes you can overpay and they get locked into years and it ends up blowing up your team. We've tried to stay away from that for the most part.
Okay.
And stay with trades, the Peterkas and the Sergachevs where they're at our age. And they're talented players, but, we've had the assets to give up to go get them. So we've kind of gone down that path and kind of stuck to the plan.
One last one for you, Bill. Of course, with the Mammoth, you guys also in kind of your circle are the Utah Jazz. Are you taking in more basketball games? And do you ever do NBA and NHL GMs kind of converse? Do you have similar problems, similar solutions?
We do converse. I think there's a great pattern inside our organization where there's a lot of information exchanged. There's a lot of ability to kind of go in and look at their analytics, or we open up our analytics, and there's a lot of transparency that helps us, just be able to run, certain questions by them and what they do in certain situations. And, Justin Zanek's there, Danny Ainge is there, Austin Ainge is there. They are totally transparent with us 100%, and they come to our games and we go to their games. It's truly a dream come true. It's just to be able to kind of pick their brain and get different ideas from their sport.
Bill, at 6'5", you're a pretty big guy in hockey. You walk around the basketball guys, you're like, damn, this is, my first time you might have ever felt short, eh?
Oh, it's amazing how big they are. You get around their team. And the Jazz are a big
yes.
Team. So it's pretty incredible to walk around with those guys. They're giants.
Well, Bill, continued success. We look forward to a fast-paced game tomorrow night. The Oilers and Utah, two of the top 3 fastest teams according to NHL Edge. So should be a fast game tomorrow night. We look forward to it. Thanks so much for your time.
Well, thanks for having me on. Much appreciated. And it's fastest game in the world, and we're going to make it a little faster tomorrow.
Awesome. Love it. GM of the Utah Mammoth. They're on fire. Winners of 7 in a row, and they got some guys who can really move, man. Nick Schmaltz is having a great start. 7 goals, 16 points in 10 games. Clayton Keller's got 12 points. Dylan Gunther, former Oil Kings, got 11. Logan Cooley's got 11, including 7 goals. JJ Peterka. That Gunther, Cooley, Peterka line, they can really move. So I would think, honestly, I look at the Oilers' defense, I'd probably have Nurse and Bouchard. If they're going to continue, I'd have them just because Nurse's speed out against that line. They can really fly. So, but you'll probably get a mixture of them as well as Ekholm and and Wallman. The moment McDavid right now, fastest guy in the league, no surprise. But he wasn't the fastest guy in the league last year. He's back to being the fastest guy in the league early on in the season, according to NHL Edge. And Utah got some guys that can move as well. There's only 2 players in the NHL. So Connor McDavid's fastest speed right now is 24.63 miles per hour. There's only 2 skaters in the NHL that are within 1 mile an hour of McDavid. One of them will be on the ice tomorrow night. Logan Cooley. He can really fly. And then Cale Makar is the other one. So there'll be a lot of speed on the ice tomorrow night if you're looking to watch that game or potentially go to it. We'll return with 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm Gene Principe for Legacy Heating and Cooling. If you need a furnace this Halloween, it'd be a grave mistake not to call Legacy. Call Legacy. Need repair? Revampire your furnace. Just call Legacy. Call Legacy. Legacy has a skeleton of furnaces in stock. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. Plus, no interest and no prints of payments for 1 year when you buy with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
When pumpkins glow and night turns chill, there's one fall treat that fits the bill. A pizza shaped like a jack-o'-lantern with smiling pepperoni pattern. Thin golden crust, so cheesy and tasty. Get yours now, better be hasty. It's only around for a limited time for a spooktacular price, $17.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, yes, it's true. Papa John's Jack-o'-lantern Pizza is coming for you. Spookily and proudly locally owned and operated.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of CanTorque. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at CanTorque.com.
Smart, connected, community driven. Jason Gregor sets the standard for sports talk in Edmonton. Hear the conversation on Sports 1440. Text Gregor, 833-401-1440. Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
Monopoly Double Play is back at McDonald's. So let's practice winning. You just won 25 grand and go.
Yes.
I said 25 grand.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Much better. Okay, now you just won a brand new Chevrolet Corvette. I think you just fainted. Impressive. Feel like a winner on pack and in-app. Monopoly Double Play is back. While supplies last, 1 in 5 chances to win game piece prizes at outset. Chances to win draw prizes depend on number of entries in each draw. Cash prizes payable by e-transfer. See rules in-app.
3 locations, endless sports action. Sully's Sports Bar and Lounge. Sully's is the place to catch every game this fall. With tons of TVs, there's never a bad seat in the house. Check out the game night food and drink features and bring your friends for all the fun with Oilers watch parties all season long. Sully's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Albertans celebrate a bounty of beautiful places to visit, boundless adventures to take, all in driving distance. And Sherwood Honda has the fuel-efficient vehicle that helps you go even further and appreciate more. Hybrid CRVs and Civics mean more thanks in your tanks, more great trips to be grateful for. And of course, Sherwood Honda is thankful for the chance to help you get there. It's a beautiful time of year, and it sure would be nice to hit the road with Sherwood Honda.
When pumpkins glow and night turns chill, there's one fall treat that fits the bill. A pizza shaped like a jack-o'-lantern with smiling pepperoni pattern. Thin golden crust, so cheesy and tasty. Get yours now, better be hasty. It's only around for a limited time for a spooktacular price, $17.99. Better ingredients, better pizza, yes, it's true. Papa John's Jack-o'-lantern Pizza is coming for you. Spookily and proudly locally owned and operated.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. CanTorque's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money. Support Canada at CanTorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, OilersNation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as sports1440.ca. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. As always, we appreciate it. Big night tonight if you are a fan of MLB. How can you not be? How can you not get caught up in it at this point? It's a fun time, of course. The Toronto Blue Jays, LA Dodgers. Game 3 tonight, first pitch, 6:08. You can listen to it right here on Sports 1440s. Maybe you got practice to get to or something that's going to allow you not to be able to watch it. Well, now you can listen to it to and from. So it should be fantastic. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick, where saving you more, that's their guarantee on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and big screen TVs. It's The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Looking at the Oilers' weekend as a whole, what is the biggest takeaway, good or bad?
Well, I guess I'll give you one of each. The biggest takeaway for me still is that they struggle to score 5-on-5, and they struggle to generate enough perimeter. They also still gave up too many quality chances, odd man rushes, not ideal, and really starting from places that didn't really have to be leading to odd man rushes. On the other side of it, Leon Draisaitl, I thought, had his 2 best games of the season, and Trent Frederick by a mile had his best game in Vancouver, starting to be physical. So if you're looking for something positive, those would be 2.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going positive, hey, 2 games in 2 nights, second game, they battle back from a deficit, get the point. If I'm looking for optimism, good thing there. The downside, they seem easy to play against. I don't feel like, and maybe that changes, but I just feel like right now, despite being the 2-time defending Western Conference champion, I don't think teams are fearing playing the Oilers at this point. So I'm hoping they can add that physicality. Hopefully Trent Frederick keeps it going, but that's my takeaways from this one. Question number 2 for you. Regina is going to host the 114th Grey Cup in 2027. My question for you, if you had to attend a Grey Cup, and maybe you can use your past experiences in any Canadian city, which would you pick and why?
Oh, it's not close. Montreal.
And why?
Well, there's just so much to do. They care about football there, which is good, but the festivities and the Crescent Street, and there's just so much to do in that city. The food's awesome, so I am going Montreal.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've heard great things, away from the game, good nightlife. But you know what? I think Regina would be fun too. I mean, that's an area that loves their CFL
if you can get
football.
a hotel room. Yeah, that's it. No, honestly, like I've had fun there. Luckily, and it was because Football Reporters of Canada, like they book off rooms, so you pay for it. But the hardest thing there is just it's difficult to get a room. So that's what makes it a challenge. That's the only thing. But it's fun when you're there. Like no question. Like football reigns in Saskatchewan, so they love it. But that's the challenging part.
Question number 3. How long does Scherzer last tonight, and what is the outcome of the game?
Oh God. You haven't really had to use lots of their bullpen yet, so that's a good thing. I'll say, well, I want the Jays to win, so I'm going to say Scherzer lasts 5.
Well, I predicted that the Jays would lose the series in 5 games, and they won Friday. So that means I have to say they lose tonight. And for that to happen, I'm going to say the Dodgers bats get to Scherzer, and he plays 3 innings tonight, and I hope I'm wrong. Question number 4 for you. Chiefs come into tonight's game against the Commanders, 10.5-point favorites at playalberta.ca. What would be your pick with the spread, and is there any other prop bet you'd get after tonight?
Well, without Washington, without their starting quarterback, I like this a lot for the KC Chiefs. Hey, suddenly they're in the toughest division in football, right? With the Chargers and the Broncos,
week to week, yeah,
yeah, like it is. And if I was going a prop bet, I guess I would look at. I probably would go maybe an anytime touchdown for Rashee Rice. I like that. And also, How about over Pacheco 8.5 receiving yards?
I like those ones because it's just one play away, right? It can happen very easily. Now, our executive producer, Brad Slater, pointing out that Travis Kelce needs 2 touchdowns to become the all-time leader in Chiefs franchise history, passing Priest Holmes.
For most touchdowns.
For most touchdowns. I think Priest Holmes did it in like 3 years. He was unbelievable. But I'm going to take a Travis Kelce touchdown, I think. And then when it comes to the spread, Chiefs are rolling. Arrowhead is one of the toughest environments in football. So it's a big number. And I don't want to disrespect Coach Quinn like this, but I'll take the Chiefs to cover. I think they're starting to roll here. Question number 5 for you today is National Black Cat Day. In honor of that, if you could own any fictional cat, who would you choose?
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I did have lasagna for lunch today, so Garfield kind of seems like the natural answer, but I'm not really a cat guy. Mr. Bigglesworth from Austin Powers.
Really?
I mean, to me, they're all meh. They're all kind of okay. So why not just go with one that's kind of funny looking?
Yeah, that is a tough one, man.
I mean, literally, I could use one that hunts mice. So I don't know which one would be best for that, but maybe a lion.
A lion to hunt mice?
Well,
I don't think lion are hunting mice.
You got to eat.
I'm probably gonna go with Puss in Boots from Shrek 2.
Ooh,
pretty funny.
He could hunt my mice with a sword.
No, you'd have to be on guard. Plus, we'd have a conversation with them, so that would be better. Like I we always had a cat growing up, Fluffy, but it was like a cat, but she was a mouser and she'd be outside. So I don't know, like cats are very, cats are either you like them or you're just like, God, they're the worst. So it depends. Like my cousin Michelle, when I lived with her, so she had a cat. His name was Kiwi, and he was a machine. Like he's one of the biggest cats I've ever seen, and he obviously liked to scrap because every now and then, like he'd come home, and I'm like, who is this guy in? But anyway, so this is when I was going to college, and we lived just off of it was 110th Street and like 77th Ave. Right, just south of White Avenue. And we had like a basement, and this place was like, my bedroom was so small. I had a single bed in there, and I didn't even have room for, it had 2 doors. I don't even know why. Had one door that would go into the living room, and the other door into the hallway. But the room was so small, I couldn't even put a real dresser in there. So I had to have like the dresser down in the hallway, right? But I didn't care. You're young, you're not living at home. It's like, hey man, I'm living the best life. Like I chuckle at people like, I can't move out. Like I don't own a home yet. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like rent. It was a basement suite. Fine. But so we actually had, for one of our couches for the time, we had those milk crates underneath it, and then we had mattresses over top, and that was our couch. So, whatever, you're young. Hey, that's what you can afford. Who cares? I was like, I want money to go party. I don't need a couch. And so Kiwi would sleep on the end of that couch all the time. She had like her blanket there. And one time, one of Michelle's, where the couch was, you'd walk down because it was a basement suite. You walk down the steps, right? Open the door. You would walk about 3 feet, and then you'd go left, and then the room would wide open. And so she used to lay right on the corner of that couch, or he, not she. And so one of Michelle's friends one day, I'm sitting on the other couch and I don't know, watch TV, and Kiwi, he's sleeping on the couch, and one of her friends, knocks on the door. I'm like, yeah, come in. So walks in, and I don't know if it startled him, and she was wearing shorts, and Kiwi she walked by, and he just dove and like got his paws like dug right into her leg. And I'm just like, oh my, and she was screaming. I'm like, oh my God. So trying to get the cat off of her. Like, oh, I'm just like, this isn't my cat. And so Michelle comes running over. Oh God, did I laugh? Like, needless to say, her friend was not happy, but I'd never seen a cat attack someone. It was like, she was like, this is my place and I'm protecting it. I don't know who you are. I've never seen a cat do. Like, I've seen dogs be kind of aggressive. I'd never seen a cat do that in my life. And then, true story about Kiwi. Somehow he jumped in a moving truck once and was gone for 8 months. Somehow he jumped in the back of a moving van and ended up in Calgary. And they found him, brought him home after 8 months. He was a tough cat. That's the toughest cat ever. Like that cat, if there was ever like those, I know they have like dog fighting things. Sorry, Michael Vick. I'm not promoting it, but if you had cat fight, I'd have put Kiwi in it because I've seen him dominate cats and dogs. He was tough. It was like he was a cat who just had an attitude, like he liked to fight. That's what he did.
They got the quick I don't know, hook. Those cats, like,
buddy.
they can swipe quick.
Dude, he was thick. Like, for a cat, I bet you he was no joke, like 27 or 28 pounds. Like, he was big, thick. And oh God, I wish I could remember Michelle's friend's name. Like, cause she looked like her face, like that's probably the scariest she's ever been in her life. Like, no joke, she was probably scarred for life around cats. There's no way she was hanging out with a cat again after that. No chance.
Doesn't wear shorts anymore.
Oh God, no. Like, oh buddy, there was a lot of there wasn't a lot of meat on the bones. I can tell you about that. Hey Gregor, I can't believe none of you guys said Catwoman. Meow.
It's not a cat.
Jordan.
What's with our listeners? Just like a rabbit, one time, now Catwoman.
Oh God, we got a lot of people.
One thing on the mind here.
Oh jeez. Let's take a quick break. Get to Con Man. Sports 1440, then Spec will join us. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We got 5 days left in October. They are so close to their goal of feeding 500 families. When you buy a truck, they will feed a family of 4. So if you're looking for a great deal, you got 5 days left. Go to Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC or check it out online, northgategm.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day, Game 3, World Series from Los Angeles. Dodgers and Jays tied at a game apiece. First pitch comes just after 6 o'clock. Max Scherzer and Tyler Glasnow on the mound. We'll have that for you here on Sports 1440 radio feed only. If you're listening online, you'll get Fox Sports Radio. In the NHL, just 2 games tonight. Blues taking on the Penguins shortly. And at 5:30, you got the Bruins in Ottawa. Oilers back in action, taking on Utah tomorrow night. Week 8 in the NFL wraps up tonight. Commanders heading to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. KC enters 10.5-point favorites. This one set to get going at 6:15. And bad news for the Bills, as tests confirm that defensive tackle Ed Oliver does have torn biceps and will be sidelined indefinitely. Elsewhere, the Rams placing wideout Tutu Atwell on the IR, meaning he'll miss at least the next 4 weeks. In the association, the Raptors taking on Wemby and the Spurs. Tip-off just after 6 o'clock. You've also got the Cavs in Detroit. Sixers host the Magic. Celtics taking on the Pelicans. Timberwolves host the Nuggets. And the Grizz in the Bay to take on the Warriors. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Carve out for a cause at the Jason Gregor Pizza Pig Out, presented by GS Construction. Thursday, November 6th at the Canadian Ice House. Indulge in unlimited pizza from amazing local pizzerias while you help raise some dough for Kids Sport. Then vote for your favorite slice.
5 chances to win Baby's truck.
People's Choice Award winners. Tickets to join Edmonton's biggest and best adult pizza party are just $30. Head to JasonGregorPizzaPigout.com for more details and to buy tickets.
The conclusion
Did
of
you know
our
the
show.
Brick is proudly Canadian-owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality-made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. The Brick, saving you more.
Visit thebrick.com and use our store locator to find a brick store near you.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
An electrical solar team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life, when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal? Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth WE football coverage on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast, elksnation.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Five o'clock. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, as well as YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. We always appreciate it. Maybe you listen to the podcast later on or get us on the app. However you're consuming it, we appreciate it and very much happy to have you along. It is the Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. The Jays game tonight on the road, taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. If you're going to wager on something you like, remember to use the promo code Gregor50. You make a $50 deposit, use the promo code, they'll give you another 50. It's 2 for 1. PlayAlberta.ca. Time now to, and by the way, day off today for the Edmonton Oilers. No surprise, they played 3 of the last 4 days, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Day off today, and then they're home for a stretch. Games Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. They had 3 of their first 10 games on home ice. 5 of their next 10 are on home ice. So little bit better, but then they've got a 7-game road trip coming up in November, and then a 5-gamer in December. But after that, they're done all of their trips to the Eastern Time Zone before Christmas. Never happened in franchise history. So a lot of travel early, but like that 7-gamer, once you get out there, they're it's not very far travel. So that's the one benefit about it. As we get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists, and they are hiring. If you're looking for an opportunity to build a career, not just a job, go to gsconstruction.ca and look up careers. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Oh, doing pretty good. Jay, what's going on, man?
Oh, I'm just living the dream, buddy. Living the dream. Was quite the weekend in sports. No question about it. Let's start with the Edmonton Oilers, and let's start with the Seattle game, because I thought they were actually better in Vancouver than they were in Seattle. But what stood out for you on Saturday night?
Just the malaise, the lack of the perimeter play that's just been, we've been watching perimeter play since game 3 of the season. The the lack of, I mean, I don't want to say urgency because it sounds like that means they don't care and they're not trying. And that's not true. People who say those guys are out there and they don't care if they win, they're not trying. They don't have any understanding of the professional athlete. They do care. They are trying. It's just not working, man. And the Seattle game was a great example of, there was 35 minutes of hockey the Oilers played, or I should say, probably about almost 50 minutes of hockey the Oilers played with. It's nothing happening, man. Like, no pucks on the inside, nobody getting hit, nobody doing anything to fire up some emotions on their team. No, it just was dull and mundane and boring. You watched the game. What do you think?
Yeah, the Saturday night game, I didn't think they generated a whole bunch. And I felt like, nothing would happen. And then they would just make a real 5-bell mistake and boom, and sit on man rush. And, focus to detail wasn't there on Saturday night. And the coaching staff obviously noticed it. They switched up their top pair of defensemen. They put Bouchard with Nurse, and they put Ekholm with Wallman. And the Ekholm-Wallman pair was even. The Nurse-Bouchard pair ended up +1 on 5-on-5 on Sunday night. So in a way, you can say that's a win in that regard. I did see, I saw way more promise in the Sunday loss. Leon Draisaitl played his best game of the season, I thought, in Seattle. And then he was really good again in Vancouver. And Trent Frederick, Spector, we've talked about, Trent Frederick had 17 hits in the first 8 games of the season. He had 12 on the weekend. He had 8 hits. Last night was his best game. It wasn't even close. He was engaged all over the ice. Not only was he physical, they won board battles. How many times did they hem the other team in? I thought that line did a good job of giving you momentum building shifts. So, it's a low bar, but that was easily his best game. It wasn't even close.
Yeah. And it's a place to start. When you're Trent Frederick, your job is to do that, to recognize when your team needs, you're not going to probably turn many games with huge goals. The odd time you will, but most of the time, Trent Frederick's going to get his team going by something he does physically, by having a good shift, by drilling a couple guys, by creating, Podkolzin creates that turnover that Roslovic scores on, right? It's just a good, hard, dogged bit of forecheck by Podkolzin. The next thing, it's in the net.
Yeah.
So yes, the signs from Frederick were good. We got to see more than 2 games in a row out of this guy. But I'll tell you this, everyone else on the team's been starting awfully slow too, and he has too. So it's probably not fair to just single him out above everybody else.
Oh God, no. This is it's a big problem. There hasn't been a lot of guys that have gotten going so far this season. Now, the good news for the Oilers is they're 4-4-2. It's basically just average. Right. But they're not out. It's not like Vegas the last few years where Vegas is a house on fire and they were 14-0-1. And, you're Edmonton at one point was 20 points back. Right. They're only 3 points behind Vegas right now. So that they haven't dug themselves a big hole to get out of. But you come into town tomorrow, you got the red hot Utah Mammoth, winners of 7 in a row, Spec, and outscoring everybody. They're fast as lightning. Although the Oilers, I will give them credit. The Oilers are pretty fast right now. So I'll kind of be curious to see how they look against this quick Utah team tomorrow.
Well, I think it's also a bit of I think the Oilers could turn a little bit of a page. This road trip, this last 8 games, I'm going to say I've looked through their schedule, and I'm not sure that's not the hardest 10-game segment of the season in terms of traveling. And I mean, they played 7 out of 10 on the road. The one home game came in the middle of an 8-game journey that was basically like a road game. So it's almost like you had 2 home games out of 10. They were all over the North America. So I would say to you that having made it through this at basically a 500 points percentage, 10 points in 10 games, I think they can turn a bit of a page here. They're home for a while. I think they're home for 5 of the next 7. I think you can say, okay, we do see some positives from the weekend, Jay. I think you just described them better than I did. I think if you're the Oilers, you could say, okay, you know what? We see some upswing here, some uptick. Our power play's going. We got a couple guys going. We got some home games. Let's play Utah. Let's beat Utah. You get the Rangers coming in. You get Chicago coming in. I think they can turn a bit of a page. I think they've made it through a tough time in the schedule, and now it's time to maybe – I'm not telling you take your foot off the gas. I'm just saying that the schedule gets a little bit more favorable for a team now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, you just look, you're playing every second day. You're home for the first time really for this long of a period. And then next week they do have 2 games in St. Louis and Dallas, but they only play.
Those are always tough,
right?
But,
Yeah. And they're back to back, but it's 2 games in 6 days. So it's not like it's,
right.
Right. You got 3 days off after that. So
then you come home and you come home and get Columbus or somebody. So I'm just saying, I think this team's probably sitting at home today on a day off, just taking a breath, right? And kind of collecting itself. And that's fair. You know what? They've had a really, really tough schedule to start. They haven't been very good at all. We all agree on this. But they're right in the thick of things. I haven't checked. I think, is this their most points they've had after 10 games in the last 3 seasons? I'm not sure it isn't.
No, well, yeah. They've improved from 5 2 year in 24, and then last year they had 9, and now they have 10.
There you go. So and they went to the Cup the last 2 years. So let's all take a breath here, right?
Yeah. No, it's true, but I just having a bad start doesn't mean a Cup appearance again. I wouldn't think, but to me, there are some things you say. Okay, Connor McDavid isn't going to go goalless 5-on-5 in his next 10 games, or at least I wouldn't think he's going to. He does have to shoot the puck more, though, Spec. He's at the second lowest shots per game of his career. His rookie season is the only time he's averaged. Now, I know it's only 10 games. Season isn't over. But he's at 2.8 shots per game. The second lowest in a full season of his career is 2.92, which he did last year. So it's a little bit of a trend here McDavid's he's got to shoot the puck more, especially Spec. He's faster than he has been in many years. He's the fastest top burst in the NHL right now, a full mile an hour faster than every player but 2 in Makar and Cooley. He's got 18 bursts of 22 plus miles an hour. The next closest is 10. So he's got double everybody but one guy in the NHL right now. So, he's flying out there, but it's not leading to shots on goal for him specifically, or even when he's on the ice. So that's an area of his game that he's doing a lot of the right things, but you got to shoot the puck. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and I don't know whose couch he's got to lay down on, but I've personally had the conversation with him a couple times about his philosophy on shooting pucks, and he'll say to you, and he's not lying, I need to shoot more. I want to shoot more. I think I should shoot more. If he was on the phone with us right now, he'd be saying, yup, Jason, you're right. So why doesn't it happen? No one has the answer to that except for Connor McDavid. Why doesn't it happen? You were standing there the other day when he said to us after the scrum, he says, hey, it's my nature to be passed first, and it's hard to get my head out of that. But I think everybody around him, and I think Connor McDavid himself realizes that there's got to be more shots. There's a lot of good looks that aren't turning into shots, and somehow he's got to flip a switch and get a little selfish here.
Oh, no question. No question
Right?
all about it. We just had Bill Armstrong, the GM of Utah, on the show today.
Oh, yeah.
And man, their top 6 right now is really good. It's funny. It's the Utah Mammoth, and I know they're technically second year in the league and whatever. I still associate them with Arizona, even though I know they're technically 2 different franchises. But they never came to town being like, okay, whatever. It used to be, it's point night. Now it's like, we better be on our game night or we're going to get embarrassed. They are rolling right now.
Well, listen, how long did Arizona build for? Sure, they're a new franchise, but it's the same players, same management, same program. Arizona's no different than Montreal or Ottawa or Detroit or Buffalo. At some point, when you build and build and build and build and build for a million years, you better get good, right? Now, it's the people of Utah are the benefactors. They didn't have to go through all those terrible years when Arizona was muddling along in a rebuild and didn't have a hot clue what they were doing. They've got a pretty good GM now in Billy Armstrong. They've got all those years behind them. They got a bunch of young guys that are starting to turn into players. They got a goalie. This is like walking in the 2 years after the decade of darkness and saying, hey, how painful could that have been? If you lived it, it was painful. So, you know what? Good for Utah, but this thing didn't happen overnight, man. They've been slugging away at this rebuild for 7 or 8 years. I'm going to say to you, Jason, it's about time this team was any good, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, no, it's true. But you look at the moves, the The Sergachev trade, massive, gives them a number one defenseman. Then you went out and you got JJ Peterka, fills out another hole in your top six. And Armstrong says, I think we're maybe 60% of where we're going to be in the future. They got some young guys coming. They got to kind of retool some pieces. But they're at least if I'm Minnesota and St. Louis, I'm concerned about Utah because that's a team that was out of the playoffs last year that's already 7 points ahead of us this year. Yeah. And they look good.
I don't think many of us picking us who are picking, not a lot of guys had Utah. They're maybe on the fringe, but when you look at the Central, you go, well, who are they going to beat? They're not beating Dallas. They're not beating Winnipeg. They're not beating Colorado. So for my money, I had, a handful of teams, a couple of teams shooting for fourth place in the Central, but maybe Utah's going to rewrite that theory. Hey, maybe Utah's better than we all thought they were, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, they are. They look really good, and they can really skate, man. They can really move. So that's
good. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow night.
Quickly, let's get over to the World Series spec. My goodness, Yamamoto, what a performance. And even Gosman, what was it, 17 batters, 16 in a row? It was a great pitcher's duel. And then, the Dodgers got the 2 home runs there. But I look at that Yamamoto performance, and man, he was unreal. And you just wonder if the Jays somehow could have got a run in the first inning, then maybe that'd have changed things up.
Yeah, it's the clutch hit. They had a couple of shots at getting some runs early, and Yamamoto pitched out of it basically, and then found his groove. Has he not thrown 2 complete games here in a row?
Yes.
Yeah, he's thrown 2 complete games in a row. So that pitcher, I think we've watched the Jays enough to see one of the things that they've done well. They don't strike out. So when you don't strike out, you see a lot of pitches. That means you've got guys like Kirk that foul off a million pitches. So you foul off a million pitches. That means you get the starter up to 70, 80, 90 pitches in the 5th inning. So that means no matter how good the starter is, he's not going the full way. And the Jays have made a ton of hay off other teams' bullpens, right? They hang around. They get that starter tired out. He's out in the 5th. He's out in the 6th. And then they beat you up. They're the comeback team of the year. Well, who do you think they're doing that against? They're doing it against everybody else's bullpen. So they couldn't get Yamamoto out of the game. They couldn't, roll up his pitch totals, right? He got out of there. Good for him. He got out of the innings. He kept his pitch totals very reasonable. By the end of the night, I'm not sure he threw 100 pitches, but that's the key to this guy. You got to find a way, man. You might not beat him. Your best bet's probably going to be beat the guy that comes in after him, and the Jays never did see that guy, did they?
No. What do you make of Scherzer going tonight and Bieber tomorrow?
Well, you paid Scherzer. I think you brought Scherzer in for this game to a large extent, and Bieber, frankly. And I know we can all think of things we don't like about Scherzer's season. The last game he pitched, he was really, really good. And I think at some point you got to just have faith in this is our team. This is what we built. We brought in Scherzer to pitch in this game. We brought in Bieber to pitch in the next game, and we're gonna follow the plan. You can't bail on your plan all the time. And how are they going to do? I don't know. I'll tell you in about 3 hours here. But I'm not. You know what? Those guys both have huge pedigree. You're asking them to give you one big game each in a huge stage in the World Series. They've both been in that situation before to some extent. I don't mind it, man. I don't mind having those guys on the mound for me because they've been there before, and that's a big thing this time of year.
Yeah, no, that is fair. Spec, it should be fun, man. I can't wait. You can listen to it right here on Sports 1440. Have yourself a good night. We will talk with you tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Jake.
Let's see. A Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Yes, Game 3 tonight right here on Sports 1440. We got a lot of text to get to. Ooh, people are fired up today. I love it. We'll get to that. Oh, by the way, you know what? Just because it's a Monday and maybe you've had the Monday blahs, who would like a $50 GC to enjoy a Big Mac, or fillet of fish, McChicken? All right. We're just on a random Monday right now. All you have to do is text in one word that is positive. Why don't you pick the word? It's upbeat, it's positive, with your name, and we'll pick a random winner. Sports 1440. You can text in 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. $50 GC, courtesy of McDonald's.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
Think your credit's not good enough for a new ride?
Think
again.
another thing that I know.
Loan Calculator is here to help. No commitments, no credit hits, just real answers. You tell us a few things, and we'll show you what you can afford. Text credit to 780-777-7777. That's credit to 780 all sevens. Go Auto. We do the math, so you can do the driving.
Michelle and Colette are sisters. Sisters who don't agree on much, especially when it comes to which hockey team is the best.
Edmonton is the best, baby. Vancouver's number one.
Even when it comes to meat snacks from Wilhawks.
I love the Harris Schweiner. The ham sausage rules.
But they will agree.
Wilhock beef jerky is the best.
It might just be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Others can try to imitate, but no one can duplicate Wilhock beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win friends with salad.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hi, I'm Al Hamilton, first captain of the Edmonton Oilers. Prostate cancer is the most common cancer in men, and here in Alberta, we're fighting back. This November, every dollar you give helps the Prostate Cancer Centre fund early detection, testing, and life-saving support right here in our province. Let's keep it in Alberta for our fathers, brothers, husbands, and friends. Visit keepitinalberta.ca to start your men's health fundraiser or donate today. Together, we can look after the men in our community. Thank you for your support.
Can an energy provider make you feel carefree? We think so, because who doesn't like to be surrounded by good energy? Great rates always. Gimmicks never. Perks that reward your loyalty and energy experts who know what's what. Carefree just feels good. Encore by EPCOR, your carefree electricity and natural gas provider.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
Well, looks like those hot, sunny days are done. No more birthday soup by the pool for this guy.
Ew.
You're welcome, neighbors. Back to faux fur and flannel because it's fall, and it's also the perfect time to tackle those projects we've all been putting off, starting with the trip to Metal Supermarkets, of course. Metal cut to your precise measurements fast. The local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Northwest Crane, available for all your lifting and equipment needs, specializing in selling and servicing cranes. Get lifting at northwestcrane.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$5:30. You know what I like? Many of you come up with some great words. We asked for one word that comes with that kind of gives you a sense of positive. I like it. We had words like faith, smile, win, love, playoffs, sports. It's a good one. Compliment, optimism, hope, orgasmic, touche, spectacular, nice, The supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Is that a word? But it's a nice one. I like it. Radiant. Oof, that is a great word. It's a great word. Wilderness. Ooh, yeah, that's true. Like that. Hey, guys, what about positive? Well, it's true. That is very positive. Gratitude. Teachers. Yeah, on a day like today, yeah, it's a good one too. So cons will put it in the randomizer, and it'll spit out a winner. Also at Halloween. I always like it when there's someone who's trying to kiss up. Gregor, good one. So trust me, you'll never go wrong by trying that. It's never going to hurt. Can't guarantee you it wins, but it definitely is. It's going to get you in the running. So that's all that matters at that point. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We have some texts coming in on the Oilers. Hey guys, is it just me or does Edmonton look like they just go through the motions every October? Is that just what we should expect, or is there a time where they won't be able to dig themselves out of it? Well, they're not really in that big of a hole yet, right? Like that's where I have to look at it and say, okay, the Chicago Blackhawks currently hold down the second wildcard spot with 10 points. The Edmonton Oilers, the Vancouver Canucks, the Nashville Predators also have 10. Now, Chicago, if they win their next game because they have a game in hand, well, then they'd have 12. So it'd be 2 points. Worst case scenario is you're 1 point out because the LA Kings have 11 points and they played 10 games. So you don't really have to dig your way out of anything. Utah is obviously off to a great start at 8-2. They got 16 points. But Vegas 13, Seattle 12. Now they each have a game in hand. So I guess if they win it, then it's 15 and 14. So you're 5 points back. So it's still not ideal, but it's not like they're 2-8, and you're like, oh my God, like we're way back. We're 8 points behind already. So that's where I would say would be the good news. I don't believe they wanted to get off to this start. Like since pretty much day one of captain skates, McDavid and his leaders have talked about, we want a good start. And so they wanted it. They didn't get an awful start because you're 500. So they're kind of it's an average start. It's not terrible. It's obviously not great. It's just average. And now they'll have to pick up the pace a little bit. And so you have Utah coming into town. Utah is red hot. They've won 7 in a row. Now we had Kevin Woodley on the show in the first hour. If you missed it, Woodley talked about how Utah has given up a fair amount. Like Vejmelka has been really good considering what they've given up. So, they're winning because they're scoring lots of goals. Their top 6 guys got lots of confidence, but they're giving up stuff. So can the Oilers, what do we say about Montreal on Thursday? The Habs, they give up chances. And the Oilers, who couldn't score, did score 6 goals that night. Yeah, now, regardless of the power play or not, they still scored 4 goals 5-on-5. So they showed a pulse. Now you have Utah. Then you have the Rangers. Now the Rangers are in Vancouver, so you kind of have the exact same schedule, except they're traveling. It's not a big travel at this point. Then you got Chicago Blackhawks coming to town, and the Blackhawks. Hey, Spencer Knight has played. He's played pretty darn good to this point. So that's a good thing for him. But I don't believe for a second that the Edmonton Oilers can't beat the Chicago Blackhawks. That doesn't mean you will. Like they're playing pretty well, but that's a team that if I'm the Edmonton Oilers and I'm on my A game, I should be able to beat the Chicago Blackhawks. Like they're not that much of a juggernaut yet where you're like, oh my God, we can't beat them. Right. And so Chicago, similar schedule as Edmonton. It's not coming in on a back-to-back. They're coming from Winnipeg on Thursday. They're playing Ottawa at home tomorrow night, excuse me. Oh, by the way, tomorrow, the Oilers are going to debut their New Jersey Connor Halley. I'm fairly certain of that. So we'll see. I'll be curious to see how they look on TV and in person. What do you make of the I don't know what you call it, like kind of taupe color? Kind of, is it off-white? I don't even know.
Off-white, yeah.
Off-white?
I like it. I mean, honestly, I've seen my uncle had a sweater when I saw him last week, and I was like, it's kind of growing on me. At first, I didn't know if I really liked it. The font was interesting, but you got to try these things. You're going to go do something different. Go for something a little more bold and different. And I think it's going to look good when it's on the ice. Like you, probably give my final verdict at that point. Not now, but I think it's going to look good. And like those jerseys are going to sell. People are going to be buying them up like hotcakes. So yeah, I think it's going to be a kind of a cool wrinkle. We'll see how they look on the ice. And I love Utah's jerseys as well. I love their color scheme.
Yes, no, it does look good for sure. Hey guys, why sit out Phil for Lazar? Lazar doesn't look like an NHL'er anymore from Steve. Well, Steve, I'm guessing it's, there's still the human side of it. And Lazar's played against New Jersey, former team, and Vancouver, former team. So, you don't have a lot of former teams for a veteran guy who's down the depth chart, and he didn't get to, and it's not like he gets to play against every former team, right? Because he didn't, I don't think he played against Ottawa, and they're the team that drafted him. Or did Lazar play in that game against Ottawa? I have to look. No, he's only played 2 games, New Jersey and Vancouver, right? And he played for Calgary, and he played for Ottawa early in his career, but Vancouver, New Jersey, the 2 most recent teams he played on. So I think that goes into it a little bit, right? He's played 2 out of 10 games. I would think Noah Philp probably comes back in the lineup tomorrow night, but we'll see at practice. That would be my guess. Zach Hyman is getting very close to returning. We'll have a better sense, I think, tomorrow or Wednesday for sure if he's going to play or not. So, hey guys, a couple of things I've noticed about the Oilers: they pass the puck too much, trying to do the extra move, and usually results in a turnover. Second, defensively, everyone seems out of position often, probably because of the new coaches. Third, why are they giving up so many odd man rushes against while on the power play? JC. Well, I don't think the defensive position has anything to do with the new coach. Mark Stewart was here last year. I don't think Mark Stewart, their system hasn't changed. They're not playing a massively different style 5-on-5. Now, their change has been on the penalty kill for sure. And penalty kill is better, right? It's 14th in the NHL, so above average. That's a win. What's interesting about the penalty kill is McDavid and Draisaitl have been on for the 2nd and 3rd most penalty killing minutes of any forward, and they haven't been on for a goal yet this year. So I'm not a big fan of them being on the penalty kill just because of the minutes. I think it's harder. Also, the shot block potential, not a huge fan of it for my superstar players, but you can't argue that it's worked. They've been on for a goal in almost 14 minutes of penalty kill time. So that's a good sign for them. So I'm guessing they're not going to come off of it anytime soon. Passing is a bit of an issue. No question about that. Hey guys, what's the latest on Regula? I quite liked him. When do you think he's coming back? Well, Chris Knobloch didn't want to say last time, but I know he's been skating, right? We've seen him on the ice. He's getting close. And, with Kapanen on IR, you could easily just take him off. They got roster moves to do it. So I would think, there's once he's cleared to play, I think you'll probably see him back in the lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. And I would think he would take Emerson's spot for a game, and then it'll probably be a competition. When if Regula's back healthy before Zach Hyman is, then the Oilers will have to make a decision, because when Hyman comes back, they're going to have to send somebody down because they don't have the. I guess no. Technically, how many guys? They got 22 on the roster. No, he'd be 23. Yeah, okay. I guess they could if they then moved like Janmark or Kapanen retroactive to LTIR. They could do that. So there are some options, but eventually they're going to have to make a decision on the defenseman. And just based on healthy scratches right now, it would look like it might be Troy Stecher, unfortunately for him. So we'll see where that goes. We'll take our final break, come back, update you a little bit on the Jays and the Dodgers, some storylines we'll be watching for tonight, a little NFL, and a few more of your texts in the Ewell inbox. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's a new season, Edmonton, which means it's time for new offers. Play Alberta is offering odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long. This is your chance to score big. And for a limited time only, our listeners can get an exclusive $50 free bet when they deposit $50 using code Gregor50. That's code Gregor50 for an exclusive $50 free bet. Alberta wins with Play Alberta. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, please use your game sense. PlayAlberta.ca.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. I'm super excited to tell you today that we have fed over 250 families so far with our Feed 500 Families event. With that said, we are still short of our goal. We have decided to continue this on through to the end of October. With your help and your support, we can get this done. Please stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Tired of waking up tired. Waking up tired.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Come visit our sleep experts at the Brick Mattress Store. Get Canada's guaranteed lowest prices on all things sleep. Plus, try your new mattress for 6 months. If you don't love it, we'll find one you do. Some conditions apply. Stop waking up tired. Get the right mattress guaranteed. Only at the Brick Mattress Store.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
Monopoly Double Play is back at McDonald's. So let's practice winning. You just won 25 grand and go.
Yes!
I said 25 grand.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah!
Much better. Okay, now you just won a brand new Chevrolet Corvette. I think she just fainted. Impressive. Feel like a winner on pack and in app. Monopoly Double Play is back. While supplies last, 1 in 5 chances to win game piece prizes at outset. Chances to win draw prizes depend on number of entries in each draw. Cash prizes payable by e-transfer. See rules in app.
Bring in the new year with a Canadian country legend. December 31st, in concert at the Silent Ice Center in Nisku. Brett Kissel. She drives me crazy. Multiple CCMA and Juno Award winner, platinum-selling recording artist, and top 10 hitmaker. Celebrate the new year in Alberta, country style. Bring your friends, your cowboy boots, and your party spirit for a night full of hits, celebration, and unforgettable memories. The countdown to 2026 starts with Brett Kissel live on stage. Get your tickets now at silenticecenter.com/events.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 15% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until December 13th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian and 69-cent wings, plus play, score, and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
We roll through a lovely Monday. Man, this week is great. Tomorrow, by the way, all 32 teams in the NHL will be going at it tomorrow night. So you'll have no shortage of hockey. They've got the games kind of scheduled to get rolling every 15 minutes is when it starts. I think the first game will be at 4:00 our time. Actually, I think there's 2 at that time. And then for whatever reason, the Maple Leafs couldn't start at 6:15, but I guess, well, they started at 6. I think they're supposed to start at 6:15, but they moved it back 50 minutes just to try to get as much time in before the Jays game. And then at 6:30, 6:45, 7 o'clock, 7:15, 7:45, 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, and 11 o'clock. So San Jose starts at 9. Brutal. Like, why would you do that? Why'd you have to go 9:30? Why couldn't you just keep going 9:30, 9:45, 10 o'clock, 10:15? It saves the fans in San Jose 45 minutes earlier to start a game. It's just my thoughts, but I know I'm all for if you're going to play all the games, but come on now. Starting a game, because we all know it's not starting at 11 o'clock. Eastern. Sorry, it's not going to start at, well, I guess that's 8 o'clock San Jose time. So, yeah, it's not as terrible as I thought because it isn't San Jose. So, all right. But still, 8 o'clock, you could have done it 7:15. Just saying. Just saying. But that'll be a busy night of hockey tomorrow night. Hey, Greg's, what's your thoughts on Roslovic? Has he done enough yet? Well, no, he hasn't done enough yet. But, like, there's things I see in his game that I'm like, man, the guy can really skate. Got a good shot. But he's kind of a perimeter player from what I've seen so far. Now, maybe that's just a comfort level. We'll see where he fits in. But if I look and say, okay, Nugent Hopkins, there's probably still room for Roslovic to stay on that line with Draisaitl and Podkolzin, because when Hyman comes back, I put Hyman on the right wing, McDavid. I probably put Mangiapane in the left side. I put Nugent Hopkins back as a third line center because I think this year he's been at his best when he's playing center. So I'd keep him there as a third line center. And that means Tomasic then will move to the wing because I don't see him as a center iceman. And then Adam Henrique can stay as your fourth line center. Now, maybe you want Tomasic as your fourth line center, and Henrique's on a wing. Okay, can do that. But kind of that's what I would see. And then so Hyman come out of last night's lineup, Hyman comes in and Curtis Lazar is the one who comes up. So that means Noah Phillips on the, the short. He's kind of like your 13th forward then. It's probably what I see. Kapanen still hurt. Janmark still hurt. So they got other bodies around, but that would probably be my guess. Right. Noah Philp, Ike Howard, depending on, how many minutes Ike Howard's going to play when Hyman comes back. That's a factor for sure. But yeah, Roslovic's been he's been okay. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been awful. He's just kind of been okay. And he's the not good, not bad, just kind of okay. That's how. Cons, anything for you?
Sorry, I was just diving into this text about buying out Evan Bouchard.
Oh, we don't need to read stupidity. Like, come on. There's not
going to happen.
No. Why would you? Why would you?
Just his pass to Draisaitl also unbelievable last night. Was it about Roslovic here, the question there?
Yeah.
You glad to see that goal? Thought that was like a goal scorer's goal. Want to see more of it, taking the shot from those areas. Other than that, I don't know. He hasn't wowed me. Kind of just been waiting for him to heat up. If you talk to people out in Carolina, they'll tell you a streaky goal scorer. He was very hot last year to start the season. So I guess I'd say I'm intrigued to see how he builds on it.
Yeah, like there's things I like about him, but we'll see. Look at a few other ones. 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, what do they think of doing all the teams playing on the same night besides ruining my fantasy? I just don't understand why they do it from Franny. Well, I don't play hockey fantasy, but if all the games are on one night, why does that ruin your fantasy week? I don't get it. Don't you have to put in a roster for the week? Or do you do it every day?
If it's daily, I guess maybe the next day you'd have less players playing, but you still have a full lineup. Just make the right call.
Yeah.
Make the right picks. Right.
Well, but it's the same for everybody in your league, right? It's not like one league's going to be different than the others, but the reason the league does it is they do it once. I think there's 2, and it's actually both in October where all 32 teams play. I don't mind the idea. I'd prefer it on a Saturday if I'm being honest, but this is probably something that TV's doing that, what they're trying. Are they doing like a red zone of hockey on one of the nights? I think that's what they're doing, Cons, if my memory's correct from last year. So that's part of it. But on a Tuesday, like, I don't know why you would do that, especially on a Tuesday when the World Series was going to happen. Like, the World Series dates were pretty much predetermined, right, for the most part. So could you not have waited and done it, right? Like, what if you do it next week? right? Next Tuesday. There's no NFL. There's no MLB. There's just NBA. That's it. Right? You could do it then. But I like it when they have it on Saturdays. And you got games starting like 11 a.m. in the morning, and you just rotate there. It's awesome. Like, I love it.
Frozen frenzy is what they call it.
Yeah. Hey, guys, Hyman's return's vital. But let's face it, it's going to take him a month to get up to speed from Doug. Well, Doug, he's been skating for like the whole time, right? So it's not like it's a knee injury. It's a wrist injury. So for like Zach Hyman's not a huge stick handler. He's not a big like shooter from distance. His hands might be a little stiff and tight, but it's funny. Like I saw Zach Hyman after the game against Montreal, and how it works is when you come off the ice, and usually the first star of the game is the last one. He has to do an interview with Gene, and then he goes in the room, and all the players who aren't playing, they line up on the side because they want to congratulate. And in this case, it was Paz Coles, and he scored the huge goal. And Hyman was there, and I saw him, and he was waiting. All right, Paz Coles doing his interview, and he's had an imaginary stick in his hand, and he was working on his wrist. So he's clearly trying to do any chance he gets to limber it up. So I don't know how, like, it's not as, I think coming off a shoulder or knee timing, I think could be way worse than coming off a wrist. Because he can skate, he's been skating for, basically since the captain skates. But he's been skating pretty hard, even with other coaches. And he started shooting. Like I saw him shooting at when was that? October, right after in between. So that would be, what was October 8th, the first game of the season? I think it was the Wednesday night. So then that's the 9th, the Thursday, or was 8th the Thursday? Whatever day it is. No, sorry. 6th was the Wednesday, so it would be the 7th. And he'd been skating the entire time. Right? So that part is good to me. It's the 30th. I was right. It was the 9th. And he's been shooting ever since then because he's working on a shot then. So that's 3 weeks away. So his shot should be okay for a guy who doesn't really score a ton from distance, right? Hey, Gregor, they should have games every night. I will die in this hill. See, I'd totally disagree with you. No, they shouldn't. The NHL should have nights off. It's proven for psychology that it's better when all of a sudden you don't have something. It makes you yearn for it more. That's just the truth. And you have a few dark nights in the NHL, it would actually be way better. I get the challenges with the arena availabilities and everything else. But you look at the NHL, they have a majority of games Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays now, and then Sundays. But Wednesdays, Mondays usually don't have a full slate very often. And I think it's a good thing. I wish they'd go without games. I think it'd be awesome. Coming up, Dodgers, Jays. We'll have the game right here on Sports 1440. Tune in. Pivotal game 3. I can't wait. Drive safe. Get home safe, everybody, so we can all watch a game tomorrow. We'll preview the orders and the Mammoth, of course, talk game 3 and game 4 of the World Series. Also, hopefully get a recap on the Elks, a busy offseason coming up for their general manager, and more. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm, save money all winter long. LegacyHeating.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game 3 of the World Series gets going tonight down in Los Angeles. Dodgers and Jays tied at the game apiece. Max Scherzer gets the call for the Bluebirds. The Dodgers countering with Tyler Glasnow. We'll have that one for you here on Sports 1440. Radio feed only. Coming up next in the NHL, 2 games tonight after 20 minutes. Blues and Penguins tied at 2 apiece. And midway through the first in our nation's capital, the Bruins up on the Sens 1-0. Week 8 of the NFL wraps up this evening. Commanders in KC taking on the Chiefs. Casey Enders is 10.5-point favorites. This one gets going in 20 minutes in the association. The Raptors will take on the Spurs. Tip off in 10 minutes time. Right now, Cavs up on the Pistons 37-26. And the Magic trail the 76ers 46-41. Later this evening, Hawks in Chicago. You got the Rockets taking on the Nets, Celtics in New Orleans, Mavs meet the Thunder, Suns in Utah, Timberwolves host the Nuggets, Warriors taking on the Grizz, and Lakers battle the Trailblazers. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next on the radio feed, you've got Blue Jays baseball. If you're listening online, it is Fox Sports Radio. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to